Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glo.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We're the Morning Throners. Is this Glo's first one back, or was he back last time?
No, I was back last time. Come on, dude. Figure it out.
All right, we're talking John 3 here. Long chapter. Buckle up. All right, I'm going to try and keep Nelson on track. If he starts arguing with me, sorry. I like to argue, and I like to win.
We both like to argue.
I've been
and Kyle just sit in the background and like, dude, this fucking again.
I've been winning at like
when
an
you guys
80%
fight,
clip
we all
so
lose.
far.
You saying you win 8 out of 10? There's not a shot.
8 out of 10 for sure. Not even close.
We should have been instead of the flag. That's what we should have been tracking. Argument winners, because I don't know who it is. Honestly.
I think I win all, if not all. I might 8 out of 10 was actually generous. 8 out of 10 was generous. All right, and before we get on this, let's get into it. We're back, baby. We're north of the wall. All right, John is actually doing some shit. I didn't even get a say in that argument. You just completely it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna get my say in. If we're talking outside of the podcast, you maybe have a 6 out of 10. Talking inside the podcast, no. I have almost a clean sweep. 9 out of 10.
That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Kyle, what'd you think?
I think you're both full of shit.
That's not what we're talking about. What do you think of the episode?
Neither of you win arguments. It's always just a stalemate of just you're both agreeing with each other.
You know when Nelson just starts screaming.
Our opinion,
when Nelson knows he lost, he starts screaming. I don't scream. I keep a nice,
about semantics at the end of the day.
And then I try to argue with Kyle for no reason.
Like I said, I think 7 out of 10 of those arguments turn into you two actually agreeing and making the same point and still arguing. That's 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's all semantics. Yeah. It's normally semantics.
That's why we always lose.
He's never figured it out.
All right, get into it. Kyle, what'd you think?
All right, Kyle, what did you think?
All right, Kyle, what'd you think?
Nice of you to ask. So this is our first meeting of some wildlings. Yeah, I mean, we got OSHA, we got some dudes like with OSHA. I forget all their names at this point, but like this is like
dead guys.
Definitely John's first meeting. He even thinks that. He's like, old man used to say stories. It's not quite what she said, but
yeah, I mean they're different fucking people, right? I mean that's kind of the point of them.
This guy.
What would be the real life wildling like? You, Kyle's a wildling compared to city folk
because he lives out in the woods,
or like the bush people. The bush people are
that's
the Alaskan bush people,
like Canadians. People. Yeah, Canadians.
It's just all Canadians. So
north
of the Boulder,
north of the American Wall.
Being a wildling's not an insult. Glo got dressed up like a wildling for the.
Did you read the chapter?
That is now.
This is one wildling. That's like.
But I'm sure there's an idiom for that.
Are freaking Marilyn Manson beating people.
Don't judge a pack of ducks by the ugly duckling.
All right, is Marilyn Manson Canadian?
Don't judge wildlings by Craster.
I think he might be.
Damn it, that's a bad example.
I don't know now that you say that, but I mean, like, did anybody not expect him to be like into some kinky out there shit?
Did they talk about him at all before this, like in any of the other John chapters, Kyle?
I think they might have mentioned like
his behavior, but.
Sorry. Hey, Craster's out there. I don't know. We didn't
get any. I don't think we ever
heard
heard his name before. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, but like they make it obvious before they get to his camp in this chapter that like at least the wild or the Night's Watch people know who this guy is.
Yeah,
like they're all telling stories even before they get there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he said he'd heard of the keep and stuff, but he didn't realize it was just a mud long hut, you know.
Yeah. So let's get into. I guess before we get into the chapter, what are some of the big points in the overall chapter?
It's fucking raining.
It's raining a lot. That wasn't what
I
was going to say.
Very muddy.
I was going to
say,
the
ice is over.
Let's get some stuff more about Craster. Some like the.
All right, Craster's a wife/daughter fucker.
Yeah, well, everybody's a wife fucker. Not theoretically.
Daughter, wife. His daughter turns into his wife. Yeah. He turns his daughter into his wife, and then he fucks her.
Yeah, and then what happens to all the baby boys? They kind of. I don't know how lightly we have to touch over. I feel like they're kind of.
They donate them to the gods.
That's all we have to say. We'll get into it on the deal.
They feed them to the whites, is what they say, at least here.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
they're trying to draw a map. We find out about Mance. All right,
we find out where
the wildlings are gathering in the Frostfangs.
Yeah. So as far as plot wise, we meet this new wildling guy who does all this crazy shit, and then their mission gets furthered along by, okay, now we have a destination objective. Mm-hmm. We have a goal besides let's just walk around in this huge giant forest.
Yep.
I'm gonna say this is a new format we're doing here, by the way.
What? Yeah.
We
normally try to do this.
Those are the only two main ports right there.
Really? I don't have a problem with it, but normally you go just front to back with the chapter.
Well, I try to get any of the big spoilers out on the table before we go at it, so that we're not trying to tiptoe around something that we're going to talk about in 10 pages. Normally Kyle's a little bit tougher with it, and he wouldn't just come out and said it. He would have been like, yeah, I don't know, the boys are just like not there, it's weird, and then like we'd have to tiptoe it around all chapter, even though everyone knows what the fuck's going on the whole time. But you were good with it this time. You just called it out, so now I feel like we can
good job, Jeff. I mean, Kyle.
All right, so it's a very rainy day in the haunted forest. All right, the
John thinks to himself like, oh, they call it the haunted forest, more like the drowned forest.
That's a good one.
Yeah, raining a lot. He's chilling with Gior and the Raven. Even the
good company.
Raven's not happy.
Dude, I would shoot that Raven if I could.
He's jealous of Pip and Toad sitting by a fire.
Yep.
Why would you want this fucking corn? I mean, I guess it's fun to have a pet. Like, if dogs could talk, would they just say one fucking word? If a dog would just say corn, 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 king, king, like, would we want to like strangle our dog too? I don't know.
All they say is birds, dude. Bork.
People own birds. It's not like this isn't like a weird.
Some people can just tolerate
he's always with this bird, I feel like even when he goes out and about, like this guy's on his shoulder, like it's not always in the cage. It fucking came. Why would leave this fucking thing at the wall? He brought it with. That's fucking weird.
I
would shoot this fucking thing.
Sure. It's crazy how the bird doesn't just fly away though. Like even a bird that you own, like it's gonna fly away and not come back.
Yeah, likes him.
My buddy had birds.
I mean, I think some of them would do that.
Birds would just fly away.
No, they would just hang out. Like, I mean, people make friends with crows. They like bring them shit and stuff.
Well, some birds, but not like the birds clothes talk about. Like, what kind of birds?
Yeah, they don't all fly away either.
The little ones are like a big ass parrot.
There's a parakeet. Multiple parakeets.
How big is it? The bigger it is, the smarter.
My grandma had parakeets. They were cool.
That
named Mario,
but
he would just whistle.
My buddy had two growing up, and then his new girlfriend, when they moved to Manayunk, had one. And he was so pissed. He's like, I didn't want a fucking bird. Why'd you give me a fucking bird?
That'd be the worst for me.
The worst part about birds is they can outlive you.
Fuck these birds. All right. So the first 7 villages that they came across, and we got a little bit of this, I think, in the last John chapter,
right?
They
got 3 or something already by that point.
All of them are empty. So we got the crash. We're coming up on Craster. We're not even there yet. But all these rumors start getting laid about Craster.
Yeah.
Don't fucking talk to his wives.
And not only are they tired from the road, but like Lo said, it's raining and has been raining for 6 days, is what John says.
It's just dumping.
Yeah, it's bad. It's not I don't know if it's necessarily like coming down super, super hard. It's coming down like hard enough that it's like blowing in their eyes and being a pain in the ass. So it's not like a mist, but it's like if it's been steady for 6 days, I can't imagine it's like one of those dumps because it doesn't dump for 6 days. That's like a half-hour dump.
Yeah, I mean it's raining hard and wind. Like the wind is worse. Wind is the worst part of weather. It could be doing anything else, but if it's windy, you're fucked.
And John even says like when he has to turn around and go start spreading the word. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but like it's immediately better because the wind is at his back, so none of the rain's coming in his face, and he like gets at least that respite. But yeah, Glow hit on it. He's jealous of Pip and Toad back at the house, warm and having good dinner. He's here all wet clothes, aching, not eating anything but salt cod, soft beef, and heart cheese. Yeah. And then that's when they hear this horn, which they know.
Yeah. Before we get to the horn, there's one, maybe not, maybe it's not even before, but it's just like the rumor mill of Craster.
Yeah, I think it's a little weird. Okay. Because the horn is what basically tells them like, oh shit, Craster is there. Okay. This one's not empty. Yeah. And then the Raven yells corn here. You know, I like to mention when the Raven yells. And then this is where John starts thinking about the stories here to Craster, and now he thinks he's going to learn for himself.
Yeah. I think it's funny that we get 2 kind of different opinions of him right off the bat, right? Thorn Smallwood calls him a friend, and then Dywin's like, this guy's the scum of the earth. He's a kinslayer. He's a liar. He's a raper. Yada, yada, yada.
I mean, even Thorn, though, isn't like 100%
he says, despite his unsavory reputation. Like, he knows that he's like got a shitty...
Well, then he says, the man's half mad. I won't deny it.
Yeah.
But you'd be the same if you spent your life in this cursed wood. Even so, he's never turned a ranger away from his fire, nor does he love Mance Rayder. He'll give us good counsel. So that's why Thorn likes him. And then what does Dywin say, Jeff?
Tywin, was a kinslayer, liar, raper, and craven, and hinted that he trafficked with slavers and demons, and worse.
I mean, I don't think he's
There's
wrong.
a cold smell to that one there.
Yeah.
Clicky teeth here.
I mean, kinslayer,
old wood teeth, old George Washington.
Let's think about these things though. Kinslayer, children are kin.
Yeah.
He might not be directly
That's what I
killing
said.
them,
He's true.
Liar, probably. Raper, I mean, not all of his daughter wives are willing, I'm sure.
Well, the one that's trying to leave definitely isn't.
He doesn't seem like a craven, but the fact that he's like throwing his kids out to dry makes me think this guy's a fucking craven.
I mean, he seems to like, I'll fight. He's ready to fight the whole watch. Like, you touch my wife, I'm chopping your hand off. Like,
but he's not willing
he's
to
not
fight.
afraid of them.
I don't know. I guess maybe it's like more of like a religious thing for like
he calls them the gods. He's not like he's.
I don't know.
Whatever. So we get the horn. They're coming up on Craster, and Gior gives Jon the new duty of letting everybody know and finding Sam.
And to remind
don't
everybody,
tell anyone to fucking touch his wives.
Keep your hands to themselves.
Do tell everyone to not touch his wives.
Yeah, keep your hands to yourselves.
You're good.
Yeah.
So Jon runs into Sam. Sam is fucking dripping. He's got a big floppy hat on.
And he's got a bunch of cages full of ravens with him. Speaking of cages full of birds.
Just yelling at him
Sam
too.
does the worst job.
Yeah, it's got to be awful. And we just get more talk of the rumors of Craster, right? Sam gets a couple rumors in there.
Terrible savage, marries his daughters, obeys no laws, but makes those himself. Black blood in his veins. Mother was a wildling woman who laid with a ranger, so he's a
He's a
I like this. Suddenly he realized what he was about to
John's
say.
like, a bastard. You can say it, bro. I've heard it before.
It's like, I'm carrying a bastard sword, man. Like,
Also,
I've heard the word.
This reminds me of what Tyrion told Jon. Didn't he tell him like wear
it,
like armor, nobody
wear
can use
like
it
armor.
Yeah. It's like just
no one
own
can
it.
use it
Yeah,
against
exactly.
you.
Just own it and like who cares? Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's like a big deal. Like nowadays, it's not a big deal at all. Like,
I mean, one thing is it's coming first from his friend.
when did the term bastard stop being used as like a
Insult.
Time, like the
80s or
70s
90s.
or yeah, I was gonna say 70s or 80s.
Well,
Be
the other thing
curious
like
of that.
Chet, the other thing like Chet and like some of the guys like Chet and the people who are making fun of Jon, like they don't have last names, which means like they might not be bastards, but they're at least lowborn. And I feel like if they're lowborn, I don't know, maybe there's a chance they're
Do we
a
know they
bastard,
don't have
right?
last names?
If you're a
Maybe just
non
insane.
if you're
Maybe
a non
you're right, but some of
lowborn
the people don't have last names.
bastard,
For sure.
are
I
you
don't-
higher
I
than a
guess Chet,
highborn
not for
bastard?
sure,
Can't
but
be.
I'm saying at the wall, there's got to be a lot of bastards.
You say a
even-
highborn bastard versus a lowborn?
No, that was bad. A non-lowborn bastard versus just a normal bastard, like a regular folk bastard. Who would you?
What's the difference between a non-lowborn
Oh, wait.
bastard
Oh,
and
yeah,
a
I'm
normal
confused.
bastard?
Wait, a lowborn non-bastard. I'm trying to a lowborn non-bastard, just like a true
Okay.
lowborn person.
Trueborn, low birth person.
True lowborn person.
Fuck it, we're switching with son. It doesn't
I have
matter.
no idea what you're trying to get at, but all
I
right.
think
All right, Jeff,
I'm
stay
starting
on
to figure
topic,
out where
Jeff.
he's getting at.
All right.
Stay on
Moving
topic, Jeff.
As all right, so Jon and Sam talk. Just kind of a funny little 1 and 2. And Jon carried the word back to one more guy who's the caboose.
Withers. Yep, basically caboose.
Well,
And then
so
he,
Jon tells Sam to be careful of the wildling woman. Sorry. It's like,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah,
that's good
I
point.
don't even know why I told him that. As he,
Yeah, exactly.
like, walks away.
This
Which
guy
is
don't
funny
like girls.
because by the end of the chapter, Sam is the one not necessarily like doing anything like John's necessarily warned him about, but
He's
he's the
not
one like
touching any
getting
of them,
mixed up
but-
with getting mixed up.
Sam
with them.
fucked it all up.
Yeah. So Sam actually did need it the most. So he says, goes by, says the guy in the back.
And he starts riding back through. He's cutting the corner,
Takes a
which is
shortcut
how
to
I
the
like to
woods.
travel too. I'm a straight line guy. Don't have me. You know what really pisses me off sometimes about
Double
like
back.
Slow walkers in the
decorative
hallway.
walkway, or just like decorative walkway, like like, oh, let's just put a curve in this sidewalk just because it looks cool. Bullshit. Give me A to B in a straight line.
Usually
Alright.
those are like around trees and things. Right?
Yeah, get that tree out of there.
No, you go to enough
No, I
college
know what he's talking
campuses,
about.
you'll
Yeah, I know
see
what
some
you're talking
fucking like, oh, let's just bend here.
They might have had
Bullshit.
a tree at some point. I'm gonna throw that
Maybe.
out there.
We'll talk about that later.
Jeff, I'm my apartment complex. There's a courtyard kind of thing, and it's like a square. I cut
Yeah.
through the fucking courtyard every
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely. I don't need to fucking walk in angles. Give me a straight line.
There's like a subreddit about that, like natural pathways or whatever, and it's like people.
I did
cut,
see a
enough
really
people cut,
cool.
and it like you can see where like
Yeah.
people would rather walk straight across the courtyard rather
You
than.
can see that easy in wintertime. Like even
Yeah.
where like
Yeah.
like I remember at
I actually
college, right?
read-
Any
I'm
college
gonna-
I assume anywhere,
Yeah.
you would see like You would see like snow pathways through.
I'm gonna allow one side skirt conversation here. I actually read an article yesterday on this very topic, and it's pretty sweet. Like they would wait to pave colleges specifically, or like maybe whatever. They would wait for it to snow so that you would see just how people would walk, and that's where they would decide to put it.
That's genius.
And there's some pretty sweet. Or like I think it was Ohio State. They just like let people walk on the grass enough till it all died, and they're like, "All right, boom, there we go." And it makes the most sense. Yeah. It makes the most sense ever.
Yeah,
like
genius.
Why?
If
you ever have a large,
if you did it too much, but it could look
stupid. It's like a hunting path. It's like a deer path. You're following a game trail. Like everybody wants to go that same way, so they wear it down, and it gets easier and easier. Anyway, we're way off fucking topic.
That's okay.
People like
cutting through the woods. He runs.
I think people do like that.
People like when we don't talk about Game of Thrones. Yeah, people like when we don't talk about Game of Thrones in the Game of Thrones podcast. Go ahead, Glow. Who's he running into?
Fuck. Are we talking? Is he meandering when he runs into Gren and? Fuck. Who's the other guy? Dywin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dywin. Dywin's like, oh man, I thought you were another. Good thing we didn't have to fucking fight you.
Yeah, they were sent to flank the column. They're not like flank, but like be outriders or whatever. Yeah.
They were hunting. Yeah. They were getting some food.
Clearly not. No. They were doing shit.
No, they weren't hunting. They were just like.
Well, they were probably trying.
Forking a shaggy gray Garen.
What does that mean? That's a horse.
Yeah, Garen's riding a horse.
What does forking it mean then?
Sitting on it with their
fucking
legs.
It. I mean,
no, maybe.
I know it's.
Garen's a horse, though.
It might be.
They're probably trying to hunt, but I know John says that there's like really.
I thought they were just. They were just like, hey.
I thought they were eating.
We're two people, just to protect the. Hey, we're getting attacked type of thing.
Screen more of the approach of any enemies.
Yeah.
So I thought they were eating when they said forking. I just assumed food. I didn't know what
they were scissoring. The Dywin and Gren were scissoring on the back of this horse as they're riding up.
They were forking each other.
Yeah, forking. They didn't have scissors back in the day, so they called it forking because forks only had two prongs back then. Moving on. Dywin says he thought he was one of the others. And John said
he's like, "Did you lose your wolf?"
Yeah,
because John called out for Ghost.
Yeah,
and John's like, "No, he's off hunting." Dywin, of course, it's raining, so he's like, he's more like fishing.
Gren's like, my mom told me this rain like this was good for growing crops, and Dywin's like, yeah, just crops of good mildew. Best thing about it rains like this is you don't have to shower, you don't have to bathe.
That's actually pretty smart. John tells him that they found Craster, and Craster's like, all right, Gren, don't be trying to fuck all them wives. And John's like, oh, you want them for yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
John's got a lot of wisecracks this chapter,
man. Not a lot, a few. He's okay.
He's got a couple, man.
He's
doing good.
It's so obvious that Glow loves John.
Yeah, he's still got to stick with his butt,
yeah, I'm John Glow, dude. Come on.
Dolores Ed is way better than John in this chapter. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was just going to say, John's kind of finding his place here. Like, I mean, so for a while, and we've been talking about that with all the other characters as well, but like for a while he kind of was, an outsider and a child, like in the sense, like he was with all the newbies, and
he was sitting at the kids' table.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like him and whatnot, and now here he is. He's like walking the line. He's running into everybody. He's having these kind of joking conversations, and like he's coming into his own.
One of the boys.
I feel like I probably say that week after week because that's where we're at in the books. Is everybody's developing pretty similar. But,
this is where we kind of get, and I'm sorry if I skip anything, the first real hint of how he has a lot of wives too.
Right. Yep. Well, he's like, how many does he have? And
how many could he actually have?
More than you ever will.
Which is true.
It's not hard when you breed your own. So
it's not hard when you breed your own.
Exactly.
What? Yes, red flag.
Yeah. Kyle, were you thinking anything at that point? I know it's probably hard to remember like what you're thinking at certain points of the chapter.
Well, I mean, I knew what was going on here. What do you mean?
At this point of the chapter, you're like, oh shit, this guy's fucking.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, it's totally. I mean, well, the other guy talks about.
Did they say that before that too? They might have said that before too. Yeah.
A rapist. Sure. What did Dolores Ed says he marries his daughters?
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Sam said that to him just a minute ago. And then I thought it was funny. He's like, well, he's got 10 fingers in the cock, so he can only count to 11 because this guy's an idiot. He's not going to miss anything over 11.
Yeah. So. That was a good line.
But what about his toes? So, I mean, I guess 21, right? And he only has 19, so.
It's true.
He's got room for 2 more. So we roll up on Crasher's Keep, and I don't know what John was
Ghost
thinking it
shows
was
up
going to
too
look
at some
like.
point, right? Did we say? I don't know if we said
Yeah.
that.
Ghost shows
I
up
don't
and
know.
John's like, "Oh, I didn't even hear him. What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then horses were
Which
still uneasy. Even after
should
a
have
year.
been the first red flag when he heard Gran and
That it wasn't
Dylan,
Ghost. Yeah.
because he heard him. Like, come on, man, figure it out, John. You know your own dog.
I think
So-
Ghost stays with him the rest of the way. No
Glow.
food.
Glow, why
No,
don't you
no
read
bloody
the
ball.
description of Craster's Creek? Because the next thing is John just rides off and he gets there.
He had never thought to find a stone castle on the far side of the wall, but he had pictured some sort of motte and bailey with a wood palisade and a timber tower keep. What they found instead was a midden heap, a pigsty, an empty sheepfold, and a windowless daub and wattle hall scarce worthy of the name. It was long and low, chinked together from logs and roofed with sod. The compound stood atop a rise too modest to name a hill, surrounded by an earthen dike. Brown rivulets flowed down the slope where the rain had eaten gaping holes in the defenses to join a rushing brook that curved round to the north, its thick waters turned into a murky torrent by the rains. On the southwest he found an open gate flanked by a pair of animal skulls on high poles, a bear to one side, a ram to the other. Bits of flesh still clung to the bear skull, John noted, as he joined the line riding past.
Crasher's Keep, we got a great description. Thank you, Glo, for reading that.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
One thing, did John talk about the size of it in that quote?
Not big.
It's not big, and they're not getting what they wanted in a dry sleep, or at least under a roof in a fire.
Oh yeah, he talks about that a little bit later. He's like 20, maybe 50 people can sleep inside.
The thing is, I feel like John is probably one of the few that thinks this is like that doesn't know what this is, right? Most of the people, maybe not most, but at least half have been here before. I think been here or know have been around long enough to have
To know
heard
the
about this
Crasters.
place. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It's mostly the new guys kind of thing, is what I would say.
even at the end when he talks to Mormont, I'll jump ahead here. Mormont says like they're talking about something else, but Mormont's like all the Rangers know. Which makes me think like during day one on Ranger School, they're like, okay, yeah, we got this guy out here. It's kind of, we just don't really like him, but we need him. He helps us. Like, it's like Gren might know. Gren's a Ranger, right? So like, does Gren know? All the Rangers. Gren's a little kid. So like, even John might just be one of the even very select few who doesn't know. Because there's not many people out here who aren't Rangers. It's mostly
Gren
Rangers
hasn't
only.
gone on a ranging yet, so he probably doesn't know.
That's what I'm saying. It depends. Like when Mormont says all the Rangers know, is it literally like a day one thing? Or
Well, they might have, like, on the way up, they might have told him.
yeah,
kind of thing.
exactly.
Like,
He's hanging out with Daiwan all the time.
yeah.
Yeah. So the next guy we run into for the first time?
So hold on. I got a map.
Of course you
Where's
do.
the map? Where's the map? There's the wall. There's the wall. There's
There's the wall. What's the little yellow deal?
Is that the
Blue
first
arrow is the castle. What's it called?
Castle Black.
Castle Black.
Is yellow where the God's Eye is?
Yellow.
Or God's
God's Eye.
God's Eye is down
Yellow is
south,
White
you
Tree.
nut.
Yellow is
That's what I
White
meant,
Tree,
That's the first town.
That's what I
which
meant.
is where they were in the first chapter. Yeah.
They
And
better get
then
on a
the
fucking
red is
move, man. They're
Craster's
barely
Keep.
moving.
And then up
Where are the frost fangs?
out there is the frost fangs.
Ugh. That looks awful.
Yeah, so they got a ways to go.
All right. Thank you for the map.
Yep.
I hope you guys all enjoy that in the Discord.
It'll be in the YouTube video as well.
So we run
Nice.
up into I think he's new. I don't remember him having as much fucking dialogue as he has in this chapter till this point. Dolores said.
No, Dolores said has had some more dialogue.
He was in the
Okay.
last
He's
chapter.
always fucking depressing.
He
in
was
Yeah,
it.
he's
in
the
the
most-
last chapter.
He's Eeyore. Oh, we've said that, I think.
That's what
He's the most
Dolores
pessimistic.
means.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
depressing. Yeah. His name is Ed.
Depressing Ed.
Okay, we definitely had this exact conversation. Then.
Yeah.
Yep.
We
He's
do that a
fucking
lot.
Eeyore.
It's okay. It's been
He's
like
such a
3 months.
pessimist.
That was
Yeah.
one of my notes. Was Dolores said always being
I
depressing.
love him though. He's so funny. Like I think every time he talks, I got it as a quote in here because it just cracks me up. But he did say the last chapter, like when they're looking around in those shitty houses at White Tree, he's like, "Oh, I used to grow up in a house like this," and I took it that as like honest, like wow, like he came from a bad spot. Like kind of like I was saying, like does he have a last name? He does. It's Ed Tullett. But now he tells a story in this one where like a bear kills his brother and wears his teeth around his neck in a pouch. And I'm so like now I don't really take everything that Ed says, take it with a grain of salt. He's probably just trying to be funny and it works. But it's-
So
you
I
can't
didn't
take it
know, I didn't know
seriously.
if that was like a Mormont killed his fucking brother.
maybe. I mean, it makes me think of fucking. We're gonna get there, but it makes me think of Davos. 'cause of the pouch.
Goldilocks and the Three
Yeah.
Bears. Oh.
No, I was thinking Davos too, but does he wear his brother's teeth around his neck?
Davos wears his
Davos?
own fingers.
His own fingers,
No,
but
I'm
he wears
talking
them
about
around his
the
neck.
teeth.
No, the bear wears his brother's teeth, is what.
Okay, yeah.
Dolores said.
That's
but yeah, we'll get there.
Know if
we'll
Dolores
get there.
was or the bear was.
Gotcha.
I have the next thing. I have inside the gates. John starts seeing Jarman Buckwell and Thorin Smallwood's men.
See some skulls.
People are setting up tents. Everything's going. Dogs are freaking out because of
there's
ghosts.
Exactly. There's a pigsty, naked girl pulling carrots. Chet is with his dogs. Chet doesn't like. I think he gives John a bad eye here.
He's still pissed.
None of the dogs like Ghost. All the dogs. There's like dogs fighting, but they all like run away when they see Ghost. The Ghost doesn't give a fuck. And then this is where John's like, "Fuck, this place is super small. Max 50 of us sleep in here. And what? There's 200 with them right now."
Yeah.
So they're like, John's like, "Fuck." We talked about that. And then they meet Dolores Head.
So the other thing though, they mentioned this bear with some flesh on it.
Do you have anything to say about the bear?
No, I don't. But I mean, it obviously holds some value because somebody else mentions it and it like comes back up later as well. I don't understand.
You talk about bears a lot. Like we even said, Dolores Head was just talking about a bear later.
Yeah, exactly. But somebody else is like, "What do you think was there before that bear?" Later on.
Quick sidebar. I've learned a lot. I've watched the Netflix series Alone. They're our new sponsor. 10 people into the Alaska.
It's old after a while, Jeff. I'm going to warn you. It's really cool at first.
I finished it. It's one thing I just put on while I'm working from home.
Fold laundry.
You need bear. You need fat. You don't have fat, you're not going to live. So these wildlings need fat in their diet. So that bear is important to their just natural well-being.
You think? I don't know.
The only thing I think of when I hear bear is it takes a lot more to be a bear.
Takes a little more.
Go
That's one thing.
Go Bears, baby.
Go Bears, baby. All right. So we get Dolores Head, my favorite boy, Dolores Head. He tells him to go meet the old bear. He's like, "You should leave Ghost outside. He looks hungry enough to eat one of Craster's children." He's like, "To be honest, I'm hungry enough to eat one of Craster's children." Who's our Dolores Head? You're gonna get a lot of it.
Long
you have to
as
do a funny
he
voice.
I think you should be it since you love him so much.
So Dolores here just drops that he's pretty much talking about the kids. Like he says, so long as he is served hot, these kids get eaten. Something eats them.
Yeah. So like, all right, let me eat them.
Yeah. In hindsight, you brought that up. That's one of the things. Like, I don't know if that's spoiler section or not. I guess at this point, not, because
I'm not going to stick on the spoiler section just for that.
No. I'm saying, exactly. I mean, if you know it because of this chapter, then it's not a spoiler. Is what I'm saying. That's why I like when you say stuff like that early, because then I don't have to. Even though I accidentally pat around it. But Glow, I want you to be Dolores Head, but you got to do an accent.
But I'm John.
That's true.
I'll do Dolores.
All right, but you got to do a funny accent, like a Southern accent or something.
Oh, I can do a Southern accent.
Oh, Glow's pretty good. Glow's pretty good at a Southern accent. If he's going to be a Southern accent.
Lord Mormont's in the hall.
Is he from the South
Kyle,
now?
Can you do
is
an
he
accent?
from?
No.
Is he from Mississippi?
Jeff, you can do it.
I'm trying to tell you that I could do it if y'all want me to do it.
If it's warm and dry outside, don't tell me.
If it's warm and dry outside, don't tell me. I ain't going in there.
No, you got to read the quote.
I ain't gonna read no quote. I'm gonna ad lib. If it's warm and dry inside, don't tell me. I wasn't asked in.
He flicked a glob of wet mud out from under a horseshoe.
Does this mud look like shit to you? Could it be that this whole hill's made of Craster's shit?
John smiled.
Well, I hear he's been here a long time.
You cheer me not. Go see the old bear.
Ghost, stay.
All right, so he tells Ghost to stay, and then he goes inside. Kyle, read this quick description of the inside of Craster's Keep.
The door to Craster's Keep was made of 2 flaps of deer hide. John shoved between them, stooping to pass under the low lintel. 24 of the chief rangers had preceded him and were standing around the fire pit in the center of the dirt floor while puddles collected around their boots. The hall stank of soot, dung, and wet dog. The air was heavy with smoke, yet somehow still damp. Rain leaked through the smoke hole in the roof. It was all a single room with a sleeping loft above, reached by a pair of splintery ladders.
Yeah, that's good. So, not just as shitty inside as it is outside. And then they get to talking how, like, not even Mormont is sitting on his own chair. Everyone is sharing benches except for Craster, who's the only one who's got his own chair.
Craster's the king of the castle.
And he thinks about how the day he left Winterfell to go to the Wall, he was curious for all the mysteries and wonders that he would find. And he's like, this is one of the wonders.
Just stayed at fucking Winterfell.
He's like, it's a shame Pip and Toad aren't here to see this one.
Yeah. They were so jealous when everybody else was leaving. You know?
Yeah, I mean, John was too, exactly. Well, the also thing that this chapter kind of makes me think of is what Mormont told him. I think it might have been in the first chapter of this book or the last chapter of the last book, when he's like, your brother's gonna sip wine through goblets and you're gonna suckle ice from melted snow out of your cupped hands, and it's like John is not living hot, like too great right here, and Rob is off in River Run.
Rob's a king,
fighting
getting
battles.
his toes sucked by whores.
Whoa.
Whoa. He's sucking whore's toes.
Whatever he likes, man. Whichever way you like it. So they get inside. Not good. The other thing they always keep mentioning, and I don't know if it becomes important or not, but Smallwood is wearing Riker's clothes. Yeah. I honestly don't remember if this is important.
Little dick.
But I feel like they mentioned this in every John chapter so far.
They have been, for sure.
Every time, I think they've described him as wearing Riker's shit. Is Riker was the highborn guy that was there?
No,
he got killed by the White.
That was Waymar Royce.
He was the first Ranger.
In camp. He died in camp.
At Castle Black. And also, I didn't think about this. Maybe we talked about it and I just forgot, but like Mormont says it later, pretty soon here, that like he thinks that the Whites have some memory when they come back because they attacked him and Jeremy Riker, who are like two high up people. Did we talk about that before?
They went for the generals. They went for the generals, not the
not Dolores Ed. So we get the first look at Craster. He's wearing a sheepskin jerkin and like a cloak of a bunch of other sewn animal skins. But he does have a thick gold bracelet or arm band thing. It says he looked up.
What would a bang?
Like if it's up here or like down there.
Bangle? Is it a bangle?
That's a cat.
But around one thick wrist was a heavy ring that had a glint of gold.
So it's a bracelet.
Yeah, it's fucking bronze.
So it says he looked a powerful man, though well into the winter of his days now, his mane of gray hair going to white. A flat nose and a drooping mouth gave a cruel look, and one of his ears was missing. Did it say something about his toes too? Doesn't he missing toes? That's where my quote ends. I thought that was something about toes.
No, doesn't say anything about toes, but it just talks about like, John's like, old Nan used to say they would drink blood out of people's skulls, and he must have not heard these stories.
He's drinking pale yellow beer from a stone cup. Yeah. So he's like, maybe he has those stories. He's like, they're talking about Benjamin Stark when he comes in. He's like, I haven't seen Benjamin Stark. I haven't seen that motherfucker in 3 years. He's like, I never missed him.
He would have been here.
Never liked the guy.
Never liked him. He's like, but Smallwood says that you should have seen Benjamin because he came this way last year. And Mormont's like, he came searching for these three: Waymar, Rice, Will, Garrett. Call back to very first chapter ever. Kyle, do you remember that at all?
Well, he doesn't have any ears, and now he doesn't have a head.
I don't remember them having run into.
No, it doesn't bring that up.
That was before. Yeah, they must have.
That's what I'm saying. I guess they didn't mention running into Craster or any of that.
Yep. Craster does not like Waymar. And we didn't really like Waymar either when we were the chapter. He was the one dressed in all the fancy shit. He was the High Lord. And Craster even says something. Waymar was too proud to sleep under Craster's roof, but his wives gave him big cow eyes all the same. Jared had told him they were chasing raiders, and he told him that with a commander as green as Waymar, they better not catch any, or else they'd be fucked up.
He said he liked Garrett.
Yeah, clearly Craster doesn't like Waymar. Yeah, he likes Garrett more than Waymar. Says that he had less ears than Craster himself.
He doesn't like Benjen. He doesn't like Waymar. There's two.
Doesn't like John. Doesn't really
there's
say
one comparison
about John,
to
doesn't say anything about John. He just says he has the star.
There's one similarity to them all in that.
Hoiburn.
They probably came in, kicked mud, and like, oh my god, this place is a shithole. Where the guy with no ears is like, wow, this is fucking great. I get to sleep under a roof. I don't know, but he didn't like Benjen. So
Benjen probably didn't like him because he fucking sacrificed.
Benjen probably didn't like him because he was fucking his wives.
And Benjen had that Stark
fucking his daughters.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't think Benjen? I don't think Benjen liked this guy.
Yeah.
I never said Benjen didn't like him. He was probably respectful towards him though. As respectful as you can be.
I feel like Benjen probably just ignored him.
He probably gave him like dirty looks and shit. You know, so that's what I was gonna say about Waymar is that he's probably like.
How do we know
he was poo-pooing the other two in the fucking first prologue, right? Like, oh, I'm the man here. Like, you sit the fuck down.
Yeah. To answer Kyle's question, he said something about Waymar being too proud to sleep under his roof.
It's right here. Those three I recall. The lordling no older than one of these pups, too proud to sleep under my roof.
Yeah, he doesn't say his name, but that's who he's talking about. Got you.
Yeah.
So, all right.
And then they bring up Garrett was the one that I guess made it down to south of the wall and was a deserter. Yeah. John recalls the splash of blood on white snow.
How Theon kicked his head.
Theon kicking the head. That was dope.
Him and Rob.
John and Rob racing back and finding 6-star wolf pups.
Yep. Seems so long ago now.
1,000 years ago.
So someone asked him where Waymar was headed when Waymar left Craster.
I don't give a shit.
He's like, it's not my job to keep track of you motherfuckers. He's like, I haven't had any southern wine in a while, and I could go for a nice axe too. He's like, I got all these women to protect after all. Mormon's like, he's like, you got a few number and you're isolated. He's like, I can get some men to escort you back south to the wall if you wanted. And the Raven screams, wall.
My roots are sunk deep here. I'm not low. I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah, he says, what am I going to do? Serve supper there? And then says basically what Jeff says. Cold winds rising. My roots are sunk deep. He basically, hey, tell them how happy we are. Smacks
grabs
it's better to
grabs
be
a
here
girl
than
over
be
here.
a slave, and she's slaving away
This
from
lady
him.
pulls out the note card. This lady looks at the tattoo on her wrist. Yeah, exactly.
This
is our place. Caster keeps us safe. Better to die free than live a slave.
She didn't need that line was beat into her or banged into her. She did not need no note card. She knew what to say.
Beat into her, banged into her.
And Mormont's Raven echoes slave, which is kind of funny. Better to live free than die. Better to die free than live a slave. And Mormon's Raven's yelling slave. Well, that's exactly what this woman is, basically.
Yeah. Yep. So now we get into the warning. Like, dude, like I get it, but every village here was deserted. Like, do you know shit about that? Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, maybe you should leave.
And then they tell him about what happened with the two whites who came back to Castle Black. Mm-hmm. He's like, we found the bodies of Ben Stark's men, and they came back in the night. He's like, they were attacked us, so they know who's important, so they must remember some stuff. And then a woman who's standing next to Craster was like, looks surprised, like her mouth hung open, but Craster only snorted. And he's like, they don't have that much. They don't have those troubles here. And he's like, don't talk about that kind of shit in my house.
I'm a godly man. God's keep me safe.
God's keep me safe.
God's keep me safe.
He says if the whites come walking, he knows how to send them back to the graves, but he could use a new axe. So Buckle says he might not have troubles with the dead, but what about the living? What about his king? Talking about good old Mance Raider.
King.
Says king. Craster asks if he means Mance Raider. Spits into the fire. Says what do free folk need of a king?
He's not
much I could tell you about him, but I kind of need an axe.
A belly full of wine.
Maybe if somebody gave me some of this stuff.
But he does before he even gives anything. He gives a little bit. He says the empty villages are his doing. It's like, I won't tell you where until you fill my belly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we would have been left too, but I have better shit to do. Than
they sent a man.
They tried to get me to join, and I said fuck no, and I cut the guy's tongue out.
It's over there.
I sent him home, but no tongue.
Points to it, nailed to the wall.
check out that over there.
Yeah, it's like that's his tongue.
He's not talking no more.
They're going to tell you where to find Mance, but I want the belly full of wine. He's like, and also, I guess you're going to want to sleep under my roof and eat me out all my pigs. And Mormon's like, we've been riding hard and a roof would be good, but we got some of our own food and we'll share it with you. He's like, all right, well, I'll share your food and your wine. You can stay for one night. I'm not fond of crows, so no more. And only 20 men. And I get the loft. You guys get the wet mud floor.
If anyone touches my wives, they lose their hands.
Yep, man touches the wives, lose the hands.
And just in case anyone does, Mormont says, hey, go grab him my nice new gold inlaid axe, and he can have that.
And we also need somebody else. We need a map worker.
Oh, go find... Oh, Sam knows how to do maps.
Good thing we got one of those on hand.
Oh,
that's why they brought him, right? Part of why they brought him?
Part of why he brought him, actually, yeah.
And that's when Craster's like, who's that over there?
And
he
Ed
looks like a Stark.
I will say Ed is the one who's supposed to bring the axe. He tells John to get Ed be the one to bring the axe. It's important, not important, but Ed gets to stay and slide overnight. Yeah, talk about it later. So yeah, he notices John. Notices John. And he's like, looks like a Stark, which is weird because, like, how many Starks can Craster know? And he hasn't seen him in 3 years. And granted, Benjen and like based on their descriptions, they both do like look similar, but like,
I mean, it's so.
Well, that's an old family
all
too.
The free folk. I don't know.
Yeah,
Starks
but
everyone looks like the Starks around there.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got fucking black hair, right? I mean, like
black hair, dark gray eyes.
Like I said, I bet they've been around for a while, and Craster's family's probably been around for a while. They probably have some knowledge of each other, right?
I mean, they definitely have heard about each other, but like that's what I'm saying. Like visual seeing people is different. Like it's not you don't have their Twitter. You can just like look at their Instagram feed and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Doesn't not a big deal. I just thought it like slightly weird.
It's definitely weird that you just point the guy out like, oh, he's a Stark. Like, what the fuck? Like, maybe he had heard a rumor of like, oh, there's another Stark kid at the wall.
Yeah.
Maybe that trickled down through with the Rangers.
True. But. The other thing is, he says when they introduce him as Jon Snow, he's like, bastard. And we just heard from Sam that Craster is probably a bastard. And he's like, I think a man should take a woman to wife if he's gonna take her to bed, which is like, wow, yeah, you have some great morals here, buddy. Yeah, that's what I do.
Taking your daughters to wife, yeah, that's great, man.
All right, so John leaves to go find Sam, but they were told to like,
our boy Dolores
hey, eat and whatnot first. We get another pessimistic Dolores Head convo. Give the wildlings an axe. Why not?
He pointed out Mormont's weapon, a short-hafted battle axe with a gold scroll work inlaid on the black steel blade.
He'll give it back, I vow. Buried in the old bear's skull like as not. Why not give him all our axes and all our swords as well? I mislike the way they clank and rattle as we ride. We travel faster without them. Straight to hell's door. Does it rain in hell, I wonder? Perhaps Craster would like a nice hat instead.
John smiled.
He wants an axe and wine as well.
See, the old bear's clever. If we get the wildling well and truly drunk, perhaps he'll only cut off an ear when he tries to slay us with that axe. I have 2 ears, but only 1 head.
Smallwood says Craster is a friend to the Watch.
Do you know the difference between a wildling who's a friend of the Watch and one who's not?
Asked the dour squire.
Our enemies leave our bodies for the crows and the wolves. Our friends bury us in secret graves. I wonder how long that bear's been nailed up on that gate, and what Craster had there before we came hallooing.
Ed looked at the axe doubtfully, the rain running down his long face.
Is it dry in there?
Drier than out here.
If I lurk about after, not too close to the fire, belike they'll take no note of me till morn. The ones under his roof will be the first he murders, but at least we'll die dry.
Craster's 1 man. We're 200. I doubt he'll murder anyone.
You cheer me,
said Ed, sounding utterly morose.
And besides, there's much to be said for a good sharp axe. I'd hate to be murdered with a maul. I saw a man hit in the brow with a maul once. Scar split the skin at all, but his head turned mushy and swelled up big as a gourd, only purpley red. A comely man, but he died ugly. It's good that we're not giving them mauls.
Ed walked away, shaking his head. His sodden black cloak shedding rain behind him. Dude, Ed
the
is
Southern
the best.
accent
Ed
fucking
is the
makes
best.
it, dude.
Dude, it like fits. Like I swear, like George wrote it Southern.
It really does.
Like in the morn and shit like that.
Hello.
Purple, big as gourd on his head.
Dude, exactly. It sounds so good. But dude, I think Dolores Ed's so funny. Jeff makes him sound like pretty chipper. I feel like he might be saying it a little bit more morose. But the fact that John's laughing and stuff makes me feel like he's probably actually saying it like that. He's like trying to cheer everybody up by being like so pessimistic.
You cheer me.
Yeah, you cheer me.
All right. So we got that combo good.
It's funny because right before John went in, Dolores, when he's like,
yeah, he said, "Don't tell me if it's dry."
He's like, you cheer me not. Yeah, he literally said, you cheer me not, or something like that.
He said, and don't tell me if it's dry in there. And the first thing he asked him here is it dry in there? Yeah. Not the first
thing. Well, now he knows he's going in there, though.
Yeah, and he's going in to stay. Yeah, he's going to try and find a place on the floor if he's not bugged by anybody. And he does. Yep. We find out he does. So
Ghost is going to go look for Sam, but he hears, woof!
Yeah, exactly. Not a bark. Somebody's yelling wolf. Jeff says wolf. Weird. You say wolf like wolf the noise.
I say wolf like wolf. What do you mean?
It's a wolf. Say wolf, it's a wolf like the noise a wolf makes.
Wolf is what?
Wolf. Wolf. It's a wolf.
All right, so one of Craster's girls is backed up. We find out her name later, so I'm just going to use her name the whole time. Gilly's backed up. Ghost has got her. Not got her. Ghost has got one of her rabbits. Dire wolf. Yeah, he has one of her rabbits.
Wolf. No one says that. It's a wolf. Come on.
So Ghost is there, has a rabbit in his mouth. There's another rabbit on the ground. Gilly is backed up against the house, the keep, and the rabbit house
Smushed.
is on the ground. Yep. Ghost had
blasted. Yeah.
Yep. John knows right away what happened. John's like, don't worry, Ghost's not going to hurt you. He knew that Ghost was hungry, hadn't had a lot to eat, and ate the rabbits. Ghost eats his fucking whole rabbit just like whole, like a python eats something, right? Just like bones and all, crunches it, just eats the whole thing down.
You got to think Ghost is pretty big.
Pythons don't chew, but yeah, I know what you mean.
How big could this rabbit be? I mean, he's probably like
crunches it up and then he swallows it.
He talks about the second rabbit and how it's pretty slender.
Yeah, but still,
gotta be pretty small.
Just eating the whole thing whole. It's crazy.
It's impressive. Good job, Ghost.
So Gilly's small. She's only like 15 or 16, showing pregnancy though. Yikes. He asked if she was one of Crasser's daughters. Like, who the fuck else is she, John? Like, she's not a Molestown whore up here at Crasser's house. Like, no shit. And she's like, no, I'm his wife now.
Mr. Obvious over there.
She does, but yeah, I guess he's wrong anyway. She says he's her wife. She's a wife now.
Well, I mean, to this point, we haven't really understood the dynamic of when you become.
Now it's 100% confirmed. Yeah.
Like, is it now like once you're?
He tells John. He said, if you're gonna bed a woman, like you better marry her.
Yeah. So okay, so I guess
I do.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say like maybe it's not until they're pregnant, but that makes sense. That quote tells you.
Though? Is he just like, hey,
you're a wife now?
You're my wife now.
Yeah,
hey, wife, come marry us.
He only follows his own rules, is what was said. The only laws he follows are his own. So
kind of freeing, but yeah, he's a crazy dude.
So John's like, hey, we'll make good for your rabbits. We'll make good on your dead rabbits. Yeah. She's like, damn it, like we don't even have any sheep or pig. Like I was gonna, what is it? They don't have any pig.
I
was gonna breed them.
They have pigs. We
got no sheep. I was gonna breed them. We're gonna breed them, motherfuckers.
And so she goes to call him my lord, and he's like, I'm not a lord.
I'm no lord.
But by then, some of the other people had gathered around, and Lark the Sisterman is like, don't listen to him. That's Lord Snow himself. And Chet's like, the bastard of Winterfell, brother to kings. So they're
what the hell is the Sisterman?
That means you're the sisters. They say it later. The sisters is a few islands off the coast.
I got it. Yeah, I've heard of that. But okay.
Yep. So Lark turns the goal. Like Lark's yelling like, the wolf looks hungry. Maybe it wants that tender bit inside your belly. And John's like, stop scaring her. And Chet's like, we're just warning her, being honest. And girls said she wasn't supposed to talk to them. And she turns, runs away. And John tries to stop her, but he can't, and she gets away.
And then he just gets in a little bit of an argument with these two.
So Ghost owns Lark quick.
Lark was trying to steal the rabbit, and Ghost was like, fuck off, dude. This is for Johnny boy, not for you.
Exactly. Takes it, gives it to John. And Lark falls when all that's happening because he's scared little bitch boy. And then John's like, you guys didn't need to scare her. And Chet's like, we're not going to get scolded by a bastard. And basically John's thinking like, Chet doesn't like me because I got him moved from cushy job with Maester Aemon to dog boy.
Chasing dogs around.
Yeah. I mean, dog boy seems like the sickest job to me, but.
Yeah, but they're, I don't know. It
says ill-tempered hunting hounds.
They're at the worst place in the world. And he had to fucking read. He had to fucking grab books for an old man.
But if you train your dogs, then there'd be like.
Isn't he like half blind?
You don't even know how to train your own dog,
you guys
let
alone all the
time. Multiple dogs.
My dog is the best trained dog ever.
Fucking
imagine just being in charge of 20 loops
every time he comes around.
That's because he can see a bitch when he sees one. No, bitch when he sees one. I fucked that up. I couldn't even say the joke right. Fuck. Go ahead. What's next?
John's basically like, all right, I'm not gonna fight you guys beyond the wall. Like, chill the fuck out.
Fuck off.
And he walks away.
I will not fight a brother beyond the wall.
They're trying to call him scared, and he's like, guys, don't even waste your breath.
I'll beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Well, what do they say? Like something about names, right?
On the sisters, we have a name for that. He says, I know all the names. Save your breath.
Save your breath.
Fuck off.
I'm about to come over there and fuck you up if you keep talking.
Yeah. No, he says the opposite. He's like, I'm not going to fight you north of the wall. And they even start saying, like, you wouldn't be as brave without Ghost. And John's like, fuck off. And he just leaves.
Yeah.
Dude, John would fuck these two up.
Goes to find Sam. Sees somebody on the way, though. What were you saying, Glo?
I can't even see. He would fuck them up.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Chet's the one that's blind.
Yeah, he's like half blind.
That's Clytus.
Yeah.
Who's still working with Maester Aemon. There was two of them that were working. And one of them still working.
Gotcha.
Yep, you're good.
Mine too.
On the way to Sam, he sees one more person.
Giant.
Bedwick the Giant.
And he's a little guy, right?
Chilling in a tree. He's really little. Yeah, he's sleeping in like the
bowl Sam's of a tree. Sam's got a tree too. What tree that would be?
What tree that would be? He's like, hey, Lord Snow, do you like my castle? He's in the tree. Yeah. This guy seems pretty funny too. He looks snug, and they goes to find Sam. They find
Sam. I don't have anything written on the Sam combo.
Ghost like bolts ahead, finds Sam first.
Ghost finds him.
Ghost knows how to do that shit.
He's under a small rock.
He's like, hey, you gotta go draw a map, but let's eat some rabbit first.
John helps him out big time. He's like, man, you gotta fix your feet. Like you're covered in mud, you're all wet, you gotta dry out. But
let's start a fire for you, big.
You gotta go inside.
Skins the rabbit. Sam has moss between his toes. Other rangers were looking around. They were pissed that these two had a rabbit and they're still eating like salt beef and salt cod and whatever other bullshit food they got. Sam's asked about Craster and what the castle's like, and John's like, dude, it's nothing. It's literally just like a roof and a fire pit. That's it. And he tells them basically everything he saw in the keep while they're eating. When they're done, Sam was wishing if they had a hold like a lamb. And he's like, does he have any lamb? And John's like, there was a sheepfold, but no sheep. And we kind of find out a little bit about this later.
This is when you find out how fat Sam is, too.
He just need a whole leg of lamb by himself? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of meat.
Doesn't he with like fucking this kind of sauce and like, yeah, like shut up. Like if you were just hungry, like you're fat. That's a fat thing to do.
Weight out here, right? They've been out here for how long? Like he's got to be slim and weight
Unless he's eating these ravens when nobody's looking. They're opening these cages and it's like 2 ravens. There's only like 2 ravens left.
Yeah, I sent 3 ravens today, guys.
He goes and John goes to sleep.
John does think about like how he's able to defend the keep when it's like so poorly defended, because he does have a lot of women.
Yeah, he has no idea what's going on in there. Like it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't.
Yeah. So John goes fall asleep next to the fire.
Wakes
up.
He
hopes that Mormon's going to find something useful about Benjen. Wakes up. It's beautiful
Everything
out.
is iced over.
This used to happen in my hometown all the time, where you get like freezing rain and just like all the branches would be like have like a big thick coating on it and like everything looks sweet.
It's kind of cool.
It's dope.
Cool. How is he not dead? You would think he'd be dead.
He's under his cloak. He's sleeping under his cloak.
Yeah, he's under his cloak.
Come on.
He's not under his cloak. His cloak is hanging up.
Yeah,
his cloak is.
He said he made a shelter with it, like on some branches above him.
Yeah, I know, but the fire went out. He doesn't have a coat on.
The fire went out. It's freezing temperatures, and he's just he wakes up like a spring fucking flower.
Wet clothes,
Ghost was keeping him warm, but Ghost
he should be
wasn't
fucking
there when
dead.
he woke up either. So yeah, John is just very warm blooded.
A little funny quote is like, "Oh, there is magic beyond the wall."
Yeah.
Speaking of this scene,
because it looks so cool. Yep. And he also said that when he saw it made him think of Arya and Sansa because he was also dreaming of them, and he thinks that Sansa would think it was so like beautiful and crazy and from a story, and Arya would just kind of want to go run and touch everything. And then he sees Gilly.
Lord
Gilly's
Snow.
there. She's like,
Lord Snow.
Yep, she's up top the rock. She's wearing Sam's big old cloak. Yep.
Fucking Sam's cloak.
Big old fat cloak.
Big old cloak.
And we find out that
Sam sent her, and she wants the king to save her. Save her and her baby. At first, John thinks she's there about the rabbit. He's like, I'm sorry, I already ate it. And she's like, don't worry. He got a crossbow worth 100 rabbits for that. He's like, are you truly brother to a king? He's like, half brother, but yeah. He's like, he's king in the north. What's the deal? And
does he protect the weak?
Pretty much, yeah. And John's like, you can't talk to me. She says Sam told her to come. John's like, Craster's gonna be upset about this. She's like, don't worry, he got fucked up last night.
He won't be waking up anytime
And when
soon.
John goes into his house later, he's
passed
just passed
out.
out.
Yeah.
So, she's basically like, I heard kings give justice to the weak. Can you help me? She starts to say, my lord, I beg you. But she slips off the rock, which is funny. Right after she says, like, they give justice and help the weak, she slips and John catches her, helping her. And then she's like, my lord, I beg you.
How about this? We already heard of a girl do this before. It's like, please take me with you. Like, I'll be your wife. Like, come on, girls.
Theon's girl.
Theon, the salt wife girl. I'll be your salt wife.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have more to offer than just being wives. Okay.
I mean, that's all this girl knows, though. To be fair,
The thing is, like,
for sure. Just a message out to all our young lady fans
Wait,
out there.
I hope
this
there's
a
no young
different
ladies
Jeff?
listening to us. You should be even reading this book if you're a young lady. So I hope there's no young ladies listening to this. But yeah.
All right. Well, so we get a little bit of guest rights here. I thought that was interesting. Like, I can't.
He's like, I can't take you from your father's hall.
Yeah.
Like, that wouldn't be right. And she's like, well, you didn't stay under his roof and you didn't eat, so you don't have any guest rights, so you can technically do it. And he's like, well, I don't even know your name.
Hold on, real quick. I think we skimmed over it. I thought you jumped a little bit ahead, is why I stopped talking for a minute. She does say the total number of Craster's wives. She's 19. Like, he has 19. He won't miss one. Holy shit, 19. That's a lot of.
It's a lot of boinking.
It's not a love to spread
around. They can't all be daughters.
They are.
Well, then where'd the first daughter come from?
His first
hand.
I don't think
His
that works
first
like
wife
that.
is probably dead. She probably died.
Maybe. No,
maybe.
I'm saying
one of them
maybe.
might be a wife.
I'm just saying, if you do the math on it, and I know somebody has, Preston Jacobs, go look up his video. I haven't seen it in a while, but he does a video on like how old they all are based on like age of like generations and how many children you can have in so many years or whatever. But it's crazy. 19 wives is crazy. That's a fuck ton, especially if most of them are daughters.
There's probably a bunch that are the same age.
He's like 7. He's like 70, right? And Gilly's 15, 16.
Well, just 15, think it's kind of like exponential growth there, right? He started with 1, then it can become 3, then it can become 9, then it can become 15.
Yeah.
100%. And so he has twins at one point.
Yeah, twins blow it up. But I mean, you're also in the middle of the woods, no doctors, olden times. It's not 100% delivery rate.
He found a way to do it.
He found a way.
Got it done.
I'm not gonna say a win, but he got it done.
I'm not gonna say a win.
So yeah.
So we find out that Gilly's actually worried about not even herself. She's like, please just take my baby.
Yeah.
You know, and
she's like, I don't even know your name. It's like, it's Gilly after the Gilly flower. And he's like, oh, that's pretty.
That's a pretty name. Santa told me to say that.
He's like, I can't help her, but at least maybe me being nice we'll do something. He's like, is it Craster you're scared of? And then somebody read this quote real quick. I guess I haven't done a voice yet, so I can be the girl. For the baby, not for me. If it's a girl, that's not so bad. She'll grow for a few years and he'll marry her. But Nell says it's to be a boy, and she's had 6 and knows these things. He gives the boys to the gods. Come the white cold, he does. And of late, it comes more often. That's why he started giving them sheep, even though he has the taste for mutton. Only now the sheep's gone too. Next it will be dogs. Till... She lowered her eyes and stroked her belly.
What gods?
John was remembering that they'd seen no boys in Craster's keep, nor men either, save Craster himself. The cold gods, she said. The ones in the night. The white shadows. And then this is where John starts thinking back to the attack at Castle Black, right?
What color are their eyes?
Yeah. And she's like, blue. Blue.
As bright as blue stars.
Blue as bright as blue stars and as cold. Yep.
She has seen him. Fucking Craster lied.
Did Craster say he didn't see them earlier?
Yeah.
I guess I kind of forgot that.
Well, he said that we don't have any of that trouble here. Don't talk about them in this place.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like, that's not a thing we deal with. And so he is a liar. Back to somebody said earlier, Kinslayer, liar, Craven, you know.
He might have ticked all the boxes by now, yeah.
Yeah.
So once again, he's like, just take me just as far as the wall. He's like, we're not going south. We're going north. We're going to find Mance and the others, the people that you're trying, these like white shadows and they're whites. He's like, we're looking for them. Your baby's not going to be safe where we're going.
Yeah, and also he's the brother. Well, I think we probably talked about that. He's a black. You know, he took the black, so he can't even have a wife.
He can't have wives. Yeah, that's out of the. He can't take.
There shouldn't be a woman along. Like somebody's gonna obviously like she's not Arya. Like,
but she's like, when you're done though, you'll come back this way. And he's like, I don't even know if that's true. It's not up to me. Like, I don't choose the road I ride. She's like,
and what if they came back in like a week or two? You know, say they didn't stay out that long. She's still fucking pregnant. Like. She's like barely pregnant.
I think
here.
that's the goal. No, I mean she's showing, right? You're not showing.
That's kind of her goal
for like halfway through, right?
Yeah, she wants to still be
showing, but I thought they said like she was a couple.
She wants to be gone before she gives birth.
Yeah,
for sure. Right?
Well, okay,
100%.
If it was a boy, it'd be gone. Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
She's like, sorry, I just thought you were the brother of a king, and the king keeps people safe, and I hoped, and then she just runs away, and. Basically, all the happiness of John looking around at all the beautiful stuff and the ice covered in ice was completely gone. So he puts his cloak on,
ruined it.
Straps his sword up, takes a piss, and gets ready for the day.
Damn her and damn Sam twice.
At least he has a nice breakfast coming up.
What the fuck was Sam thinking?
Yeah, Sam is a fucking nitwit.
Then he goes meets Gren Dywin at the fire. Hake hands him some burnt bread, some bacon. He ate it while listening to Dywin talk of having 3 of Craster's women in the night.
Dude,
Gren's I would want that. No,
I want to try some chunks of salt fish and bacon grease. I think that sounds pretty fucking good.
I'm not a big fish guy. I don't like seafood too much. Unless it's crabs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Crab legs are good.
The problem was they burnt the fucking bacon. If you are a crispy bacon person, you're dead to me.
Any bacon.
You're a fucking lunatic.
Bacon's like pizza. Dude, bacon's like sex.
No.
Even bad bacon's good bacon.
What's worse? Extra crispy bacon or microwaved bacon?
If you microwave your bacon,
You're fucking lunatic.
So stop listening. Jeff. Stop listening to our podcast.
What if you microwave your bacon for long enough to make it crispy?
Take the time to make bacon the proper way on a fucking pan.
The oven.
No. You gotta bake your bacon.
Bake your bacon.
You guys, I will eat baked bacon, but I will not take it in the oven. I will put it on a pan and pan fry it like a man.
Yeah, it's messy.
Sunday to clean your kitchen.
The house is
here's why. Because then
bacon's so much better, dude.
Listen. You're never just going to eat bacon. You're going to make something else. So if you go to cook your egg, you cook your egg in the bacon grease.
But I make BLTs. I'm not cooking anything. I don't want anything else in the bacon grease. Go fuck yourself. BLTs.
Right.
You bake
crispy bacon.
You take your bacon grease from the pan.
And you want crispy bacon for a BLT.
I will eat oven baked bacon. Don't get me wrong. But you do not want it to be crispy. You need the little bit of fat.
For a BLT? Not even for a BLT?
Yeah,
BLTs
you want it crispy.
Here's the thing.
BLT,
if you are making a BLT, also reevaluate your life. Go one step further.
Just 6 for 11
one step further.
Guys, in these arguments. He lost
Go
this
one step further
and
make a turkey club. Why not put some turkey on there? Why would you just eat the BLT?
Because then you can't taste the other stuff.
Bullshit. A club sandwich is a BLT.
Stay on topic, bro.
With a turkey, with a little bit of turkey or
Tell
a
us
tuna.
in the Discord. There'll be a poll in the Discord when this comes out. Turkey club versus BLT. Let us know.
I used to hate when my mom and dad they would plan dinner and it would be like, hey, we're having BLTs for dinner. Like, what? That's not dinner. That's like fucking half of the dinner. You're missing something.
You're right. It's not
missing
dinner, but it's a great lunch, though.
It's not.
I could eat it for dinner. They're delicious.
Go a step further and put some turkey on it. Make a turkey club.
I'm not going to make a fucking BLT right when we're done with this.
Now you've got a great meal.
All right. Somebody read this. We're back on the Dolores said quote. Jeff, you ready? Dai was talking about having 3 Craster's women. Gren's like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Daiwin gives Gren a clout in the air. He's like, you're blinder than Maester Aemon. You didn't even see that bear. And Gren's like, what? There was a fucking bear? And this is where Doris Leg comes in.
There's always a bear,
declared Dolores said in his usual tone of gloomy resignation.
One killed my brother when I was young. Afterward, he wore his teeth around his neck on a leather thong. And they were good teeth, too. Better than mine. I've had nothing but trouble with my teeth.
Did Slam sleep in the hall last night?
John asked him.
I'd not call it sleeping. The ground was hard. The rush is ill-smelling. And my brother snore frightfully. Speak of bears, if you will. None ever growled so fierce as Brown Bernard. I was warm, though. Some dogs crawled atop me during the night. My cloak was almost dry when one of them pissed in it. Or perhaps it was Brown Bernard. Have you noticed that the rain stopped and the instant I had a roof above me? It was started getting out and back out. Guys and dogs alike, they like to piss on me.
So, Dolores said again. He's so good. Dolores said just keeping this very gloomy chapter, just giving a little... Just like a few lights, little bright sides here and there. Not even bright, just little chuckles.
All right, so he eats with the guys and he goes and finds the old bear inside.
Yep.
Passes
Buckwell on the way. Buckwell's like, keep your sword sharp. You're gonna need it.
We're going to war.
Yeah. Doesn't say it outright, but pretty much says it outright. Yep. John goes in. Yeah. Mormont's eating all the other officers.
Is Buckwell the acting first ranger? Sorry for interrupting.
I think that might be Smallwood.
I've heard his name a bunch of times.
I think it might be Smallwood. I don't think he's named a new first ranger.
So Buckwell is at the very least
acting. I said
I know. I remember. I think in the first chapter, John walks in on Thorin Smallwood trying to be like, "You should name me first ranger," and Mormont's like, "I'll name ranger when I name ranger. Until we find Benjamin Stark, he's ranger or something like that."
Yeah,
like, I'm done naming replacement rangers or something.
So I think Buckwell is like the lead scout at the very least.
They said Thorin. Okay. I think in the last one, Thorin, Buckwell, and the guy who it was at the back of the van, whatever his name, I forget his name.
Whatever.
But they were like the 3 like Lord Commanders.
Oten?
Not Lord Commanders, but Oten Withers.
All right. Let's get back on track.
So he'd best go inside. You know, he's going on his way back.
So he goes in.
Raven flaps right over.
The Raven sees him right away, says, "Corn!"
Lands on Longclaw, which is over his shoulder because he has a big sword.
Because it's a bastard.
Yep. And he tells Lord Commander tells him to ignore it, that the bird just had half his bacon. So then old bear sitting there eating. Craster's still asleep though, but there's new axes sitting there on the table. His women were all up and moving, which Mormont brings up a little bit later on. Like they kind of clear why they spell out women awake, axe on the table, Craster asleep.
Yeah, that's later.
Kind of comes up.
I thought that was a good part. Yeah, I mean,
they call it out here. John tells him, he's like, how's it outside? He's like, it's cold, but the rain stopped. He's like, good, get my horse ready. We're going to leave soon. He's like, you want some of Craster's food? John's like, no, I'm not going to I'm not going to eat Craster's food. He decided.
Well, I think he did that for the guest right deal, right?
Yeah. What Gilly was mentioning earlier. Yeah.
He's going to steal her.
I'm not eating this.
Gilly put
just
it
in case. Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't owe him anything.
Yeah, now he doesn't owe him anything. Exactly. So basically, John chews off the raven right when he gets, and as soon as he gets to Mormont, it shits on him. And Mormont's like, what the fuck? You could have done that on John.
Whoa. Why'd you shit on Snow?
So John leaves, goes outside, finds Sam next to Gilly, but as soon as he walks up, Gilly runs off. And he's like, John's like, what the fuck, dude? He's like, I thought you could help her. He's like, how the fuck would I have done that? Had her under your cloak the whole time. That's one of John's other jokes there, Glow. Sam says, I felt bad. And she was afraid. I know what it's like to be afraid.
Yeah.
I told her.
Women make you weak. That's the moral of the story. Is women make you weak.
Sam? What'd Sam tell her? He's like, I told her we'd take her on the way home. And John's like, oh my God, you fucking idiot. You did it. That's it. You're crazy. We don't even know if we're going to come back this way. He's like, it's like, if we do, there's no way you're going to be able to take one. Sam's like, I thought I might be able to think of something. He's like, I don't have time for this. I'm out.
Yeah.
He's like, Sam's heart is as big as the rest of him, but he can be as thick as a castle wall sometimes, even with all that.
Moral of the story for the young boys out there. I gave a lesson to the young girls. Young
castle
boys.
Wall is what they say about dunk, right?
Young boy listeners, women make you weak.
Women make you weak. Women make you weak in legs. John thinks that helping Gilly is not only impossible, but it's also dishonorable. But then he's like, if that's true, then why does it make me feel so? Like, why do I feel so bad about it?
Why do I feel so wrong?
Why do I feel so ashamed? I got a big quote coming up. John meets up with the men and rode out at Mormont. He rides out at Mormont's side. They cross a little brook. Ghost gets all wet and dirty. And on the other side, John and Mormont have this little talk. So, Kyle, you're Mormont because everybody else had a voice already.
All right.
My lord.
John said quietly as the wood closed in around them once more.
Craster has no sheep, nor any sons.
Mormont made no answer.
At Winterfell, one of the serving women told us stories. She used to say that there were wildlings who would lay with the others to birth half-human children.
Harsh tales. Does Craster seem less than human to you?
In 100 ways.
He gives his sons to the wood.
A long silence. Then.
Yes.
And.
Yes!
Raven muttered, strutting.
Yes, yes, yes!
You knew?
Smallwood told me long ago. All the Rangers know, though few will talk of it.
Did my uncle know?
All the Rangers.
Mormont repeated.
You think I ought to stop him? Kill him if need be?
The old bear sighed.
Were it only that he wished to rid himself of some mouths, I'd gladly send Yorn and Conways to collect the boys. We could raise them to the black, and the watch would be that much stronger. But the wildlings serve cooler gods than you and I. Those boys are Craster's offerings. His prayers, if you will.
His wives must offer different prayers, John thought.
How is it you come to know this?
The old bear asked him.
From one of Craster's wives?
Yes, my lord.
John confessed.
I would sooner not tell you which. She was frightened and wanted help.
The wide world is full of people wanting help, John. Would that some could find the courage to help themselves. Craster sprawls in his loft even now, stinking of wine and lost his sense. On his board below lies a sharp new axe. Were it me, I'd name it Answered Prayer and make an end.
Yes, John thought of Gilly. She and her sisters. They were 19, and Craster was 1. But
yet it would be an ill day for us if Craster died. Your uncle could tell you the times Craster's keep made the difference between life and death for our rangers.
My father.
He hesitated.
Go on, John. Say what you would say.
My father once told me that some men are not worth having.
John finished.
A bannerman who is brutal or unjust dishonors his liege lord as well as himself.
Craster is his own man. He has sworn us no vows, nor is he subject to our laws. Your heart is noble, John, but learn a lesson here. We cannot set the world to rights. That is not our purpose. The Night's Watch has other wars to fight.
Other wars, yes, I must remember. All right, that's good.
Jarman Buckwell said I might have need of my sword soon.
You're good. So there, like, a lot of people don't like Mormont for this quote. What do you guys think about it? That he's like, he thinks
tough.
This is
it's
just like
deal with it.
necessary evil.
Can't fucking save everybody.
Yeah. It's not his business neither to.
Why can't you just kill him and replace him with make this like a Night's Watch outpost?
Because
they're past the wall.
Well, there's
people here.
Who's protecting them?
Villages.
Yeah, how many people are going to be there? They don't even have enough to man the wall right now.
The main problem I think is the others, right? Clearly the others are a problem. Maybe not a problem, but like Craster seems to have like some if he's praying to them or whatever.
They show up and they eat his fucking boy kids.
But they leave him alone. But they leave him alone. Would they leave? I'm saying if they killed him and tried to replace him, would they leave that person alone? I don't know. No. Maybe is that why they leave this guy?
That person wouldn't be feeding them babies, Nelson.
So they let this guy feed them babies. They're just like, cool. We need somebody to be feeding.
We need a baby feeder. Yeah, we need a baby feeder.
No, I think it's more just like this guy helps us. We don't need to know about his personal business. Like, we know he's doing it, but like we don't talk about it. We ignore it. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, obviously.
And what's their whole job? What's the They protect the South from things above the wall. Yeah. So if this person's not attacking them,
doesn't matter. Yeah,
it's
outside the parameters of their mission.
He's more helping them than hurting them. Why would he?
It's beyond scope.
I agree. I just know that a lot of people, when they read this, it's like, wow, Mormont, you're kind of fucked up. But Mormont is a commander and he knows his job and he's focused on it. Ned would not do what commanders do. Ned would have killed Craster. All right, if that's what you were getting at, Joe. So basically we get in. John's like, Buckwell says we're gonna need the sword. What's the deal? And Commander's like, Mance Rayder. We got all the word. We got the news from Craster. Mance Rayder's gathering all his people. We pretty much knew that. Dennis Mallister's already captured people and told us that from torturing them or whatever. Mm-hmm. But
they're going to Frostfangs.
They're going to the Frostfangs. That's what we learned from Craster.
They don't mean to stay there.
He's like, is it a city or an army? He's like, you can't make a city there. Yep. He's like, we don't know how many wildlings there are and how many of fighting age. No one really knows. But they're coming south. That's a really
weird place to grow an army as well. I think
in the mountains.
Yeah, like they could have they didn't know that this group of the Watch was coming north. Like they could have been anywhere up here. Like why would they give a shit?
I will say there are a large amount of like wildlings that like not a large amount, but we hear of tribes that live like on the north side of the Frostfangs. Like on the other side of the mountains. So I don't know if it's a middle ground or not. It seems like you're right that the more south would be way more inhabitable.
But like they could have just been like just north of Craster's Keep or whatever, and nobody would have ever seen them. Like,
there's not many rangings going out right now.
If they didn't come north looking for Benjin, they would have never. And even if they did, this would have been dumb luck if they would have come. But instead, they go to this hellscape where you can't even survive.
Yeah.
Like it just seems weird, Like it just seems like a weird place to go.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Well, that's what they're saying. Like, all right, they're getting ready to mobilize south.
Well, that's how they know they're not going to stay there.
Why don't they just mobilize? Do that somewhere else, Chloe. That's what I'm saying.
Do it in a valley.
They didn't have to do it in the fucking Mount Everest.
In the worst part ever.
They make mention that Mance Rayder was a crow, so he knows some of their things. And Rangers go out.
But he should also know there's only like 1,000 of them then.
Yeah,
but he also doesn't know like Rangers are going missing right now. He might have an inclination.
He's got an army right now. So little Rajin's coming out there. He's got an army. All right, we get a little bit of history.
Yeah, but if one of them
this has happened before.
Yep.
Yes. They've struck south a couple times. Yep.
Yeah.
We got a few name drops. Raymond Redbeard, Bale the Bard. This is the one John knows. Mormont says there's a few more. The Horn Lord, Grendel and Gorn, the King brothers, and in ancient times, Jormund, who blow the horn of winter to wake giants from the earth. Mormon's like, but during all of that, the Night's Watch was way stronger than they are now, and Winterfell was there to help in most of those cases. And now
they're down fighting the war.
And your stupid brother's fighting the Lannisters instead of doing what he should be doing.
I think he's doing what he should be doing still.
I know. I'm just saying. That's what Mormont's saying. And he's like, and he's like, and now this is the best chance the Wildlings may ever have. He's like, I know Mance. He's an Oathbreaker, but he's got eyes. He knows what's going on, and he's not faint-hearted. So John's like, what are we going to do? And Mormon's like, we got to find him. We got to fight him. Stop him. And John's like, oh, fuck. Those are not good numbers. 300 versus whatever the fuck big old question mark Wildlings got. That's it. And a
just
chapter.
Being up here, too.
Yeah, but the Northmen are worth 10. They're 10 to 1.
Of 10 Southern Lords. So that means the Wildlings are worth 100 Northmen.
Yeah, it's true. Power of 10.
Anything on this one, Kyle? Any predictions?
Man, this one I'm like, it could go so many ways. They're going to show up in Mance Raiders. I don't know that he's building an army to fight south, I guess is where I'm at. But I mean, it makes sense what everybody just said there pretty much. Like this is his chance to go south, but like I feel like there's too much other shit going on north here that we don't know about that he could be trying to defend against.
Gotcha. What about Gilly? Anything about her? Predictions wise? Do we come back this way? Do we ever see her again? Does she get saved? Does she die? Is she dead?
We're gonna see her again. Our boy's dead.
I'm
about to do that. We'll just go with that. I don't have a solid answer. There's no way.
It was just one that I was like, oh, this is kind of open ended. We could ask about this.
That's why it's a guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, we'll go along. We'll see. We'll see a lot of you guys in the prediction. What is fucking prediction section? Spoiler section. I had a few many beers. Few too many beers because it went too long. See you guys in the spoiler section. See Kyle in the next one.
Bye, Kyle.
See you later, Kyle.
Later.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
See you later, Cal. It was great hanging out, bud. We'll catch you on the next episode for Theon 2. But now, on to the spoiler section of John 3. Boys, what are your hot takes? Jeff, you said you had a bunch. Let's go, boy.
I've got 7 notes for this chapter, fans.
I got a couple.
This is just me putting in the man hours to give you guys the content that you're looking for.
I read most of my man hours during the non-spoiler because something pops up. I'm like, ooh, let me jot this down.
Jeff saw that Diamond Diesel was saying that they missed Glow in the episode that Glow isn't in. Jeff's like, okay, if they're missing Glow, that means I'm not pulling enough weight. I got to step it up so that nobody misses Glow.
That's not true.
Damn, Diamond Diesel, let's go. my boy out there.
Diamond Diesel is like Glow's fucking brother or something. Like,
dude, hey, my family, I never bring this up. They know about it, but I don't tell them about it.
So I have 7.
I don't remind them.
They're right in my notes from when I was reading, so they're chronological order. I don't know if it's possible for us to pull our notes in chronological order or not.
Not sure.
But the first thing that really hit me in this chapter, there's a cold smell to that one.
Yep.
Ooh.
Something else, I'll take a little bit further. Dywin, when they get to the Fist of the First Men, says the Fist of the First Men has a cold smell about the place. And other Rangers are like, what do you mean? You can't smell the cold. And John's like, you can smell the cold. I smelled it that night in Lord Commander's tower.
So
that's what John thinks.
So we've got like a white connection.
100%.
So like Craster is obviously, we know a little bit more that he's not just like placing his kids in the woods. Like he's interacting, I would say, a little bit more with the whites than...
And Mormont, it's like...
does John run into that in the show? I know he does run into it. Like he watches him do it.
He never sees it in the books.
In the books, he doesn't see it.
And Mormont, it's like up to debate like how much Mormont even knows, because all John says here is he gives his son to the woods. So like, is that
the
even
wood.
like
not even the woods, the wood?
The wood. So like that doesn't even mean others. Like Gior is like 100%. Like think about this: before the others and the whites were at Castle Black, nobody believed in the others or the whites, even Gior. So like he didn't think Craster was doing this a year ago.
Yeah, he just thought he was like sacrificing them for the gods.
To the gods, to the old gods, putting them out next to a tree. And they still might think that. Is what I'm saying. Because if they didn't know about the others a year ago, but they knew that Craster was doing this a year ago, then they don't know exactly what Craster's doing.
They didn't actually...
John does because Gilly said it, but all John said to Mormont was he gives him to the wood. So he could just be... And we know that in the old... We find out later from Bran that in the old god, like in olden times, like First Men days, they used to do human sacrifices in front of werewolves. That was part of old god culture. If Mormont knows that, he might just be thinking, all right, these kids are getting left at the bottom of weirwood trees or something.
They're not actually being turned into fucking soldiers.
Exactly. Yeah.
The one part, do you guys think they're actually being turned into soldiers, or do you think?
Let's get into that. He runs out of kids, and now all his sheep are gone.
Yeah,
we're not getting undead soldier. We're not getting White Walker sheep.
What the fuck? What's the point of the sheep?
Are they just eating the babies? The thing is, we never see them turn White Walker. We never see them turn babies into White Walkers. That's only in the show. That's only in the show, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I get it. Maybe they are eating them. I was going to ask, like, why the fuck would they need sheep? Maybe he thinks it truly is an offering, and he's like, fuck, I don't have a baby boy right now. I got to give him something.
I will say this. Sheep. There were sheep bones inside the tree at White Tree, the big white tree that they found with the big mouth in it. Yeah, but
anybody could have eaten that fucking sheep.
It was sheep and human bones.
Oh, there's just a fucking sheep here? Let me eat this sheep real quick.
They found sheep and human. And in the next John chapter, what's Craster giving away to the others? Sheep and humans. Again, the humans, they didn't say were baby bones. So I'm not saying it's a connection, but there's like a literary potential connection there. Definitely weird. Craster's definitely up something. And I don't think people think that they know everything Craster's doing because of the show. And even then, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't understand about Craster is even if he's giving them to the whites, how do the wildlings not kill him?
Yeah, he's one person.
And my only
unless he's just cool as shit with them all, like
He killed this guy and sent him back to Mount Raider without a tongue. Like, Mance Raider, why does Mance Raider...
That was a 1v1. Why not send 10?
Why does Mance Raider not send 10 back after he does that?
Right. I don't know.
My only thing I can think of is all the wildlings know the only reason these others aren't acting up is because they got one person in the forest making them happy.
Because he's got the others on their side.
He's making the others happy for everybody, not just for him, but for everybody.
Yeah, that's
John
true.
says he has no defenses.
No one else wants to give up their sons. He's like, all right,
he's not afraid of wildlings. That's the biggest thing is he's not afraid of wildlings either.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is, like, to me, a big question. And I have no idea. And I'm not 100% sure what the theories are on this, but, like, just logically to me, it doesn't make any sense.
He's got solid protection.
The wildlings only don't kill him because they know
the others
that he serves the same reason the Night's Watch doesn't kill him, because he serves.
Why are the others just going and killing all of the wildlings?
I don't know.
Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that they're just chilling out in wherever the fucking others are.
If they're close enough to Crasser to keep getting here, like, and they're not, like, super far north, then, like, why are they not just popping out and killing people?
How many other keeps did they just walk by, or does Crasser have like a big agreement, like, hey, don't kill all the wildlings? I don't know.
We don't know.
All right. The next thing I had was Sam needing a warning about the wives. We just find out that Gilly's going to become a big part of the story. I thought we did a pretty good job of not playing on, like, Ed being a big character going forward and Gilly being a big character going forward.
Ed's not even really, like, Ed is totally different in the show. He's just mentioned a lot. He's not nearly as funny in the show.
No, he's barely mentioned. He's like a combination of a couple characters.
I mean, at the end of the show, at the end of the show in season 8, there's, like, Sam, John, and Ed, and they're like, one of us bury the rest. Like, he's kind of made to be the accumulation of everybody else.
He takes over the fucking wall. He becomes Lord Commander.
Lord Commander, yeah.
But again, like,
I mean,
he's not the same character. He's just like a guy who's there in some scenes in the show. He's not
like you said in previous chapters, like, we've hyped up people that we know is going to be there. Like, we didn't really hype up Gilly. We didn't really hype up Ed.
Yeah, we did good. I mean, I think the chapter hyped up Gilly enough to know, like, okay, we're going to see this person again, right?
I would hope. Yeah. There's not many people that we spend that much time with that, like, if it's just like a bullshit character, their name's mentioned.
What about Chet?
Like, oh, he's drinking beer.
I brought up
Chet
a few
ends
times.
up fucking attacking Crasser, doesn't he?
Chet gets a POV. Chet's the Storm of Swords prologue.
They get killed, right? Or they get attacked. They get attacked.
Yeah, he's gonna try and kill Lord Commander. He's gonna try and overthrow the Night's Watch and take over. And Small Paul's like, I want the Raven. And then, like, the night they're gonna do it, horn. Oh shit, they get attacked. And that's the only, like, boots on the ground. I guess Sam. We might get Sam boots on the ground too of the attack at the Fist of the First Men.
Yeah. Oh shit, that's Fist of the First Men.
That's the Fist of the First Men attack. So they've been there. They get next chapter. They get to Fist of the First Men for John. John has 8 chapters this book. The 4th one they get there. Second 4 he's with Corrin. 8th in the last one Corrin dies. So we're about to get to the Fist of the First Men, and then the last 4 Johns are Corrin with Corrin after him.
That was the first episode I watched of Game of Thrones, and
you're hooked.
I immediately stopped watching and started reading the book.
Nice. Nice.
I watched them all first. Fuck it. All right. Anything else? I got it. Okay. Yeah.
My turn.
Your turn.
John at one point mentions that they have other wars to face or something like that.
They had other capitalized in this chapter millions
of times.
The others were,
but that was like the biggest one I saw was other wars.
It was at least like 3 or 4 times where it was like Gren was cooking a fish. Period. The other men were setting up campfires around the woods. Like him and Sam. Other men looked at them with envy as they roasted their like it was always the others
capitalized
like that. Yeah, capitalized because it was always the beginning of a sentence. It happened so many times that I was just like, I'm not writing all these down.
You should have written them all down. Be dedicated to your craft and note taking.
The one I had, I already kind of said part of it was when the girl says, "This is our place. Crasser keeps us safe. Better to die free than live a slave." And the Raven yells, "Slave!
Slave!"
Kind of, Jeff, you talked about this, and I don't know if it was the one that Glow was on or not, where you're talking about free will. Like a lot about free will. And like, is it really just 3 guys controlling everybody? And if it is just 3 guys controlling everybody, one of those 3 guys, there's a big theory, is basically.
And I don't think Glow wasn't here.
No,
so we're talking about Blood Raven, like the Maesters, and like Quaithe, right?
Or whoever, right? Just if there's like a few people pulling all the strings, and he's really just controlling everything. And here we have a Raven who everyone thinks is associated with Blood Raven, right? Yelling slave, maybe just being like, "Haha, you're all my slaves. Like I'm just I'm just pulling all, you're all my pieces."
I was thinking more of like, no, bitch, you are a slave, like being sarcastic, but that would make sense too. I mean, I wouldn't fight you on that.
Yeah. Raven says a few things this chapter. I'll say it right now. He says corn a bunch. Then he says wall, slave, king, and yes. So those are things he says this chapter.
So I have one that actually came from Ed. I'm hungry enough to eat one of his children's as long as he's hot.
Kyle even brought that up.
We know half of them aren't fucking hot.
What do you mean?
Well, I think this is.
What do you mean?
All right, so this is more to like maybe they are turning them into the cold white.
Yeah.
So the boys are not hot; they're cold. The boys are others. So I wrote that down. And I know we don't know it, but this is like a little bit of a hint.
We said half of them aren't hot, so that's
all right. Well, I'm saying 50-50 chance that it's a boy or a girl.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay. The boys are cold. They're fucking others.
Yeah.
Write it down.
I'm not saying again. I'm
not saying that they're not. Maybe they're not turned or.
The thing is, people don't know, like, how do you get new others then? If they're not changing people, how do they get new others? But then what's the sheep for? Are they just eating the sheep and then there's no way he's sustaining the entire other army off these sheep?
Do they need sustenance?
This is what I think about the sheep. I think he was scared. He had a bunch of girls in a row, and he was like, fuck, I don't have an offering. I haven't had an offering for years, right? It could have went years without fucking having a boy. And he's like, fuck it, I'll give him a sheep, see if they like it.
I mean, if he's got 19, you got to assume at least 10 are at childbearing age. Most of them have to be pregnant. Like, they can't not be pregnant for more
They're pregnant most of the time.
Yeah, they're pregnant most of the time.
So, but there's a chance that maybe 1 year went where he didn't have a boy. Or it was like,
2 or 3. Yeah, you could go for a few years probably without one.
So, that's I do think... I don't know if it's show-ish.
But why are the others just like, okay, cool, we'll take the sheep, and they don't just like fuck them up?
I don't think they do. I think that's where the point of like...
They probably have some understanding, like, all right, yeah, you're trying. I can see you have more fucking girls. And there's 5 of them that are pregnant. Yeah. All right, keep up your A for effort, but figure it out.
I think they left the sheep out in the woods and someone else fucking took it. And someone else took it, they ate it, and they're like, oh, what do we do with these bones now? All right, throw them away. Our trash ban's this fucking tree. That's what happens with the sheep.
Gotcha.
One small thing, there's a bear skull outside of Craster's Keep, and doesn't Mormont die there?
Yeah. I thought there was a lot I think... I forgot to write this down. Oh, no, I did say
and there was still flesh on it.
And doesn't somebody kill Mormont with that axe?
It might be... I don't know who kills him. I don't know if we've heard of it.
Isn't it the fucking... Is it not the knife guy? Isn't the knife guy?
Yeah, I don't know if he's in the
show.
I don't know if he's in the
I was just hoping that he was in the books. I don't remember. I thought that guy was a dope character.
It might be someone we haven't heard of yet, but I'm not sure. Let me see. All right, so I looked it up. Olo Lapan kills him. We don't see him for the first time until Storm of Swords. So the person that kills Gior isn't actually here right now, but he does get killed.
I think...
But please,
he's probably here. He's here. We just don't know he's here.
Huh. He is here. 100% he's here. If he's at the mutiny, then he's here.
Do we know what happens after the mutiny? Does John come and kill them all with a group of soldiers?
There's no way that happens.
I don't remember. I'm asking.
They all slowly just slowly trickle back, and I think that Mance just knows how few there are at the wall. Maybe.
Gotcha.
Sure.
All right, next one. All right, and I had this down because I thought it was interesting, but I changed my opinion a little bit, Nelson. I think you're gonna enjoy it.
Okay.
While we went through the non-spoiler.
Okay.
John had the look of a Stark.
All right, yeah, this is one of my notes.
This is the reason that Benjen's his dad.
Benjen's his dad. I changed my mind. Benjen is
Craster
John's
has
dad.
seen 2 Starks, Benjen and John. How did he know what a Stark looks like? It's like it has to be spitting image, and we know they look similar, but like why they look spitting because it's
but a lot of the Starks look alike except for fucking the 3 redheaded children. Redheaded.
That's not even real true. Like if you look at even our podcast images, how I had the artist describe them from the book, and Benjen's not one of them, but like John sticks out. John doesn't like Ned and Arya look like brown hair, dark eyes. Jon has black hair, black eyes. Like
Ned has black hair.
He's dark hair, but it's not black.
Ned has black hair.
Look at Jon is Benjen's son. I'm convinced.
I don't know.
Look up Ned's likeness right now.
I'm convinced. There's no way. I mean, unless Benjen and Ned are fucking twins, I think it's a big, hey, maybe Benjen's his dad type of moment.
So you're saying Benjen banged Lyanna?
There's a lot of sister fucking
that's where that goes.
They were drinking some Folgers,
and that's why. I mean,
does it have to be Lyanna, or could it be Ashara?
Eddard has a long face, long brown hair. Thank you. Long brown hair.
Could it be? Could it be a different? Does it have to be Lyanna? And Lyanna gave birth to Dany and died. I don't think Benjen's.
Yeah, but why would Benjen be exiled for banging Ashara?
Because Ned was in love with her. I don't know. I don't know the details.
I'm not even in on this conversation because Glow's had me doing all the shit that I already did and got these pictures drawn up. And then you see in the pictures, Jon has the more Stark-like features than any of his half-brothers. His graceful, quick, lean build. He has a long face of a Starks with dark brown hair, gray eyes.
Oh, dark brown hair, huh?
Dark brown hair.
Too dark, so it's different, Glow.
Yeah.
Come on.
Did you get Ned's colored eyes? No, it's probably gray. Yeah.
Jon's are gray, so dark they almost seem black.
Okay.
And it does say Jon resembles his father, Lord Eddard Stark, because he looks so much a Stark. Oh. Tyrion Lannister notes that whoever Jon's mother was, she left little of herself in his son's appearance. That's because he's double Stark. That's what it says on Wiki. I'm not saying I didn't add any of that in. No, I'm just kidding.
Why does Jon feel so guilty about just because he has Stark honor?
About not doing the Gilly thing? Yeah, it's because it's one of those things where it's like
Gilly
he knows
he's not helping
he knows
the weak.
The right thing is to help Gilly. Yeah. The right thing is to help Gilly, and that's not what his
nothing he can
job
really
allows.
do right now, which is he's right about. Like, they're going north. What's he gonna do? Why does he feel so guilty? But he feels guilty about the rabbit thing and shit.
He's just a good guy.
The right thing to do if you're Mormont is to say, okay, Jon, take Gilly right now, turn around, and take her south. That's it. Take her home. We can spare 1 out of 200. All right, Ed, take her south. You'll cheer her up on the way.
But they wouldn't do that because they
wouldn't do it because then
they're
the
afraid
others
to cast her too.
They're afraid of what's going to happen if they don't. Yeah. These others don't keep getting their babies. Again, I don't think they even know that that's actually what's happening. I don't think that the White Night's Watchmen actually 100% know what's going on here. But
there's magic beyond the wall.
I like that note that he had.
And in that quote, the pale pink light of dawn sparkled on branch and leaf and stone.
Ooh, yeah.
You know I like my children of the forest names.
Yeah,
I didn't pick
branch
up on that.
and leaf and stone, which is like it's just a weird way to say that, and it happens too often with I only notice it with the children of the forest names because leaf's in a lot of them.
Yeah.
And branch and stone
isn't stone.
We don't know any of the other ones, but I think we've probably heard stone like this in a Sansa chapter where it was like the moonlight shined down on her and Dantos through leaf and stone or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
We get this a few times. I'd want just like a general note, like they talk about trees a lot in this, like roots sunk deep, giants sitting in a tree. If there was a tree that big, this tree is my castle. Giant sitting in the tree, like, do you like my cat? Giant is sitting in a tree.
Wouldn't that be a tree?
So Giant is sitting in the tree. And he's like, do you like my castle? Then he says Craster says root sunk deep. That makes you think of what's it called?
Blood Raven.
I don't have the theory in front of me, but we can talk. I'm sure we can talk about it sometime. People say that, and Mormont talks about this at the end. Jormungand blew the horn of winter to wake giants from the earth. There's a thing where people think giants is green seers, is like what the first men called green seers. So waking giants from the earth would be like waking the green seers. Because when Bran goes down there, there's not only Blood Raven in a tree, there's a ton of other like dead bodies down there. Yeah. Or whether it's just like letting the like children of the forest who are all kind of like have some of that green seer ability in them, whether they're the ones coming out or whatever.
Yeah. So you just mentioned the Horn of Winter. And is that the reason why they're in the Frost Fangs?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why they're looking for the
Horn of Winter. Good call, Jeff. I didn't even remember that during this read through. I wouldn't have talked about that. That's a good call. That's 100% why they're there. Because Kyle brought that up. I was like, why the fuck are they there? And that's 100% why they're there.
I just remember that being a big deal later on. And I was like, fuck, that's the thing. And I don't know why, but why else would they be in the Frost Fangs? Looking for the Horn of Winter.
But to that thing, like if giants, waking giants from the earth, if that is in reference to Blood Raven, who's in a tree, And then Craster says roots sunk deep. And then Jon leaves him and finds Giant in a tree and says, "Do you like my castle, Lord Snow?" That just seems like
someone speaking through Giant. What do you think? Giant's a weirdo, or
no? Giant is like, I think that's 100% symbolism, and like Giant does mean like green seers or something. Again, I don't know why I've heard where that theory comes from. I've definitely heard that somewhere before, that like Giant doesn't mean giant as in terms of all these giant people, like the giants that Jon sees. Like when they say the horn woke giants, like it woke something else. Persona. It woke something else from the earth, not actual giants.
Not an actual giant. We know giants are
real,
are up and about. All right. So the Magic Beyond the Wall, Children of the Forest, just the others, the whites, the whole fucking deal. Blood Raven.
Yeah,
there's a lot of shit going on.
There is Magic Beyond the Wall. So yeah, it's kind of like what, because Jon says like, I heard all these stories about all this crazy shit and all these wonders, and now it's this shitty house, and I heard of all these crazy wildlings drinking blood out of skulls, and it's just Craster drinking beer out of a stone cup. Like everything is like way less exciting than it seemed. But then he wakes up and like he's like, okay, there is this hint of magic. But then to what you're saying, Jeff, it's like surrounding all this shit, there is so much more magic in the north than there is.
There's big boy magic up north.
Yeah. What he's even seen yet.
Than this ice on top of, exactly. Ice
what he's even seen yet. All he's really seen in the show is, or in the books, is a white and fucking giants.
Yeah.
Hasn't seen any other magic.
The one of the last notes I had was bear talk. We kind of mentioned it already when you said like the bear, the Mormont thing. I don't know if there's anything else we want to talk about that. There's so much bear talk with like the Ed stuff. Like,
there's always a bear. What does that mean?
What does that mean? There's always a bear. I love it because go Bears, but like takes a little more to be a bear. But like I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either.
Does it mean there's always a Mormont?
The other thing I didn't know that what it meant that Ed said is
there's always a Stark from Winterfell.
There must be a Stark one.
Ed says, I have no idea what this meant. I was like thinking about it. I was like, it seems important, but I have no idea. It says, do you know the difference between a wildling who's a friend and to the watch and one who's not? Asked the dour squire. Our enemies will leave our bodies for the crows and wolves. Our friends bury us in secret graves. Shouldn't their friends burn them?
Yeah. Well, they don't even know that. They just learn that.
Yeah, they're just saying the friends are backstabbers and will like secretly kill you.
You're gonna die either way, but at least the friends will bury you afterwards.
No, it's saying the friends are gonna keep it a secret.
Oh, secret
pretend
graves.
To be your friend and like backstab you.
Gotcha. Makes sense. I didn't know if it was like, I thought it was like a hint to like the whites and stuff, and like, but I thought like, why is nobody burning anybody? But yeah, makes sense.
No,
cool.
I'm out of notes. That's all I had.
You're out, Glo?
Do you have any? Opinion question here. Would Mance work with Jeor Mormont if he was still alive?
Jeor.
For what?
Jeor.
About
you know how? What? No. You know how Mance like works with Jon getting across the wall?
Yeah.
Do you think that would happen with Jeor? So they don't.
I don't think so.
They don't meet each other at all. Like Jon meets Mance and all that. Would Jeor and Mance work together?
No. I think they only do that because they've lost people, and Jon's like, hey, we don't need to die over this right now.
I don't know. I think the reason Jon does that is some of that is shown in this chapter with Gilly. He's like, it's not the right thing. Yeah. It's dishonorable, but why do I feel so bad about it? I think once Jon becomes Lord Commander, he's like, I shouldn't feel bad about it. I should do it. It is the right thing.
I should help people.
He's like, this is the right thing to do. They are just people. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, Jeor knows about the what. Like, if Jeor and Mance talk, Mance would be like, yeah, dude, White Walkers are fucking mobilizing. We got to get south of the wall. And Jeor would be like, yeah, a white attacked me. I think you're right. Come fucking with us.
Yeah, they are about to get attacked on the fist.
That was the other thing that Kyle said that confused me. He's like Mormont thinks that Mance Raider's going south, but that doesn't make sense. Like, don't they have other shit to fight up here? But like, he's on the right line of thought that like Mance is thinking about the others, but he's not thinking about fighting them fuckers. He knows he knows he's the one who's seen that shit. He's like, there's no fighting this.
He's like, yeah, we got to get south of that fucking wall.
Yeah, exactly. So Kyle's on the right track, just took the wrong fork in the road. But yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like what I would have thought. I probably wasn't even like.
There's no way you're thinking about it.
Putting two and two together. Like, who the fuck are the wildlings? What the fuck's Frostfang? Who the fuck is Mance Raider? Like, what is going on here?
Well, the other thing is when you read it, you also had already seen the show. So you had a little bit of backbone. You knew who Craster was. You knew some of that shit. So the last thing I had, I've already talked to Jeff about this a little bit. I guess another kind of open-ended question. Jon mentions that every night Ghost comes back from hunting to sleep with him and where the Lord Commander too, maybe?
Mormont's tent.
Yeah. So what I was thinking was,
so Bloodraven can get into his head and dream with him.
I was thinking the opposite. Bran, whose wolf is kept away from him at night, and Arya, whose wolf was separated from her, seem to have the most wolf dreams. And Jon, who sleeps with his wolf every night, like you can't be in Ghost's body if Ghost is asleep right next to you, right? Like what are you dreaming about? Just wolf, like Ghost dreams. So like, is that wolf separation actually a good thing for some of these powers? Which is like why Jon doesn't seem to have too much of it yet, but like Arya and Bran, the two that are separated from their wolves, do. I mean, and maybe Rickon. We don't know about Rickon, but
I think Jon starts having more wolf dreams when they are separated.
100%. He gets separated when he comes south of the wall with the wildlings. And Ghost has to stay on the north, and then literally he has like the taste of blood or something in his mouth. And he's like, you know what? I should go through the wall.
Makes a lot
and
of
he goes
sense.
through the wall, and Ghost is waiting for him.
That makes a lot of sense for sure. I'll sip that tea a lot.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
I'll agree with it.
I think George definitely had it in mind. That was my last thing.
I have one more note because
if Lady didn't die, do you think she would have? Sansa would have.
Depends on if she's allowed to come to King's Landing or not. Yeah, if Lady doesn't die, maybe the wolves make it the way to the city, and then that's everything goes down different if the wolves make it. If the wolves make it to the city, just think about like Littlefinger setting everything up. Littlefinger had no idea about these wolves. If Sansa and Arya didn't have that little fight and these wolves make it to the city. Think about like what happens when they try and turn on Ned.
Littlefinger would have been eaten.
Everybody gets eaten. Those wolves just go fucking ham in the city.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we see in the Red Wedding that Grey Wind is captured, but he's also caged up.
They like made sure he was caged up prior. Yeah,
sure. But if Grey Wind's that smart, he would have been like, "Fuck this, I'm bailing." You know, Grey Wind walked into the cage. You know, but.
You're right, and Ned walked into the trap too. So maybe they would have been like, "Hey, Ned, before you come to the throne today, can you cage up those dogs outside?"
Yeah,
but yeah,
you're right. He would have waltzed in if he knew he was trying to take over. He'd be like, "Yo,
wolf at each side." Yeah, Lady and freaking Nymeria. That'd be badass.
Sick.
That would be cool as fuck. Ask our artist to draw that up.
Draw Ned walking in with the letter from Rob. Like, all right, Cersei, rip it up this time, bitch.
It's a little fan fiction.
That is like, if you could change one thing in Game of Thrones and see how it played out, just like. Remove that Sansa chapter where there's that fight. Just like let the wolves make it to King's Landing. That would be badass. Or it wouldn't, because then Arya would never get the wolf connection.
Or just like not have Nymeria attack Joffrey. Like just have Arya like beat the shit out of him, and then
just have the wolves not in that scene. Yeah,
that would be sick.
All right, Glow.
All right, one last thing. Thanks to you, Jeffrey. Jeff made a nice little catch with Jon acting like a king. It's when Gilly talks to him and she's saying, well, isn't a king supposed to help out the weak?
I said that. He catches her.
No, I said that.
Yeah, Jeff says it's weird because it happened right after she said something about a king. He helps out a weak woman.
That was Nelson.
I thought it was you, Jeff. I remember.
No. I was going to say, am I fucking crazy? Did Jeff really say that?
All I said was that kings protect the weak.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. You guys
whatever, you're right, yeah.
So Jon is a rightful king. He's Rhaegar's child. Fuck you.
I thought that was cool.
Whoa.
I brought that up.
Benjen's child.
Benjen and Shar.
I never subscribed to Benjen's child.
Benjen and Shar, even though I don't know how they ever would have met. I don't think they ever met, but
they met at a tournament. Come on.
Was Benjen at that tournament? I don't know if Benjen was at that tournament.
I mean, Benjen was a young.
No, he wasn't. Benjen was the Stark in Winterfell when everybody else was at the tournament, actually.
Yeah, he was young.
Yeah, Ashara slipped up.
Fucking
premarital deal. No, she was at the deal.
Yeah, and Lyanna's Mance Rayder, and that's the thing is like Benjen's actually just been chilling with Mance Rayder the whole time because like Benjen, Rhaegar.
The real thing is Lyanna's not even dead. She's on Essos right now.
The thing is, Mance Rayder, Benjen, and Rhaegar are all the same person. People think Rhaegar and Mance are the same person. I'm thinking Benjen's the same person as well. Even though he looks nothing like them, dude. What? So people, there are crazy theories where people think that Euron is Dario, and like book-wise that works out. Yeah, book-wise like that's potentially possible. Like when Euron's gone, Dario is here. There's like they say that there's like pirates around Slaver's Bay right after Dany sends Dario out of King's Landing. Then we hear of like shit that like some pirates are doing outside Slaver's Bay. Then Euron shows up and there's a bunch of like Kingsmoot stuff. Then we hear of nothing. Dario shows back up for a chapter or two, and then Euron shows back up in Westeros.
What? That's the weirdest thing fucking ever.
There's that's a theory that they're the same person. And then I think there's a theory that like Euron.
But we don't hear of Dario having like purple tongue.
I think Benjen might be Dario is another one. that Benjen is Dario, because again, like we never see Benjen again. It's like Benjen could be anybody who has dark
Benjen's
hair.
fucking cold heart.
There might be like a Benjen is there might be a
hands.
Benjen's Euron theory. I'm sure, probably out there. Because if we don't see Benjen, then he could be anybody, right? If they got dark hair,
Why
it could
would
be
Benjen
Benjen.
be Euron? No, that doesn't make sense.
I guess that doesn't make sense because Euron's family knows him.
Because of the Grey Lord fucking rebellion.
Euron's family knows who
I could
Euron
sip
is.
a little bit of the Dario tea just because Dario's just a random guy that shows up.
Yeah.
More or less. And
Yeah, we're way off track.
Yeah,
We
I
can
can see
stop
that.
it here.
is
This already way
Benjen
too
cold
long. I
hands?
don't want to end this.
Is Benjen
No.
cold hands?
I think George has said he's not cold hands in an interview before.
I think Benjen's cold hands.
I think he is too.
George, I just told you. Did you guys hear what I said?
Yeah,
You
George
said
is.
I think George may or
George
may
is
not have
throwing
said
red
that in
herring.
an
George is
interview
throwing
before.
red herrings out there.
You might
He
be
doesn't
right.
know what the fuck he's
You might
talking
be
about.
right.
He's not even going to finish the last book, so it doesn't.
They're already
fucking
done.
matter.
They're done,
No,
and
they're
the
not.
day he dies, they're gonna release. They've
they're
been done for 4 years.
No, they're not.
All right,
He
we'll
hit
see you
writer's
guys in the
block.
next chapter. We'll see you guys in the next chapter. It's
See you guys
Bye.
in
Theon
Dark and Full
2.
Terrors. Theon 2.
When he diddles his sister.
Like, subscribe, join our podcast, join our
Discord.
Nice Dark and Full Terrors.